Back in 1996, when the Angels signed Randy Velarde from the Yankees, they knew they were getting an explosive offensive weapon who added strength to their offense and to their infield defense as well. But after an outstanding first season with the team, a spring training injury sidelined Velarde for the entire 1997 year. In his 1998 comeback, Randy seems stronger than ever, hitting home runs in his first 2 games. Randy Velarde yesterday goes deep and has done it again. But Randy wasn't 100%. Only recently has he returned to the lineup on a regular basis, and the Angels hope he can play a pivotal role down the stretch. Can Randy Velarde be a key factor in the Angels' quest for the West? Major League Baseball is next, right here on KCAL 9. Live from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, it's Angels baseball on KCAL 9. Tonight, a battle of division leaders continues as the best team in the West, the Anaheim Angels, takes on the Beast of the East, the New York Yankees. And hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is the left-hander, Jerry Royce. The Angels start this road trip in grand fashion, winning 7-3 over the best team in baseball, the New York Yankees, last night. And it was interesting and maybe fitting that a couple of former Yanks, Randy Velarde and Jack McDowell, did so well.
Velarde with 3 hits last night, plus a pretty good defensive play in the field. And how about Jack McDowell? His second start since coming off the disabled list. Last night going 7 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and he was simply outstanding.
And skipper Terry Collins' theme all year long has been play him one game at a time. But when you come to New York, yes, the Yankees are very special.
I live for this series like this. This is what baseball is all about at this level. The big series that are important, especially for us. I think we've got still a young club that's going to continue to get better. When you face real good teams like the Yankees, you pick your game up. You learn how to do it, and the more you have to pick your game up, the more you rise to the occasion, the better you're going to be as a young player. So what we need to do is come in here, play the game the way we know how, and that is get prepared, go out, execute, catch the ball, put the ball in play, be aggressive on the bases, and we can beat them.
The Angels have risen to the occasion against the Yankees all season long. In the previous 7 meetings, the Angels have won 4 of those ball games. The only team in the American League to have a winning record against this New York ball club.
Our pitching matchup tonight, a very good one. Omar Olivares will try and get that nasty sinker ball working, and Hideki Irabu goes for win number 12. He has a 95-mile-an-hour heater to go with a good split finger pitch. But again, we come to you from Yankee Stadium with the monuments deep in the outfield. We'll be right back. Anaheim Angels baseball on KCAL 9 is brought to you by Edison International, the power behind peace of mind. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. Test drive a 98 Toyota at your local Toyota dealer. Buy or lease. You can count on a Toyota every day. By Carl's Jr. If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. And by your Southern California Ford dealers. See your Ford dealer today. We welcome you back to New York City. Home team. It's the New York Yankees, and there can't be a better way to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Yankee Stadium than with the way the Yankees are playing this year. 94 wins, 34 losses, the best record in baseball, and an incredible 48-10 here at Yankee Stadium. Right now, let's check out the lineup that Terry Collins took out to home plate tonight. He will lead things off with left fielder Orlando Palmeiro. Batting second baseman Randy Velarde. Darren Erstad will hit third and play first base. The designated hitter is Tim Salmon. Batting fifth is Garrett Anderson, the right fielder. The center fielder back in tonight after suffering back problems, Jim Edmonds. Hitting seventh, third baseman Troy Gloss. Batting eighth, the catcher Matt Wolbeck. And hitting ninth, shortstop Gary DiSarcina.
29-year-old Hideki Irabu makes his 23rd start of the season, the second of his career against the Angels, the first this season. Last started 10 days ago against Texas here at the stadium and suffered the loss. But in that ball game, he was hit on the left instep by a line drive off the bat of Tom Goodwin, and it caused him to miss his last start against Minnesota. So it's been 10 days since Irabu, who's won 11 games this year, has pitched.
Well, when you have 94 wins and you are 60 games over 500, you can pitch, you can hit, and you can also play defense. And they are 5th best in the American League defensively. And behind Hideki Irabu, he will have Chad Curtis in left field, Bernie Williams, an absolute flyer in center field, and Paul O'Neill, the respected arm that he shows. Scott Brocious will be at third base, Derek Jeter, and Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch has won a Gold Glove in his past. Tino Martinez is at first base, and Jorge Posada will catch Hideki Irabu.
If you were to ask a number of New York fans, they'd probably tell you that the man in your picture is the most valuable player in this ball club. For good reason. 326, 5th best in the American League, 7 errors overall. That's simply outstanding, considering the fact that he plays every day and that he's at a position where a lot of action takes place.
Only 7 errors, down from 20 last year. He will face Orlando Palmeiro. And Hideki Irabu throws low ball 1. Palmeiro has been playing this leadoff spot a lot for Terry Collins. What TC likes most is the fact that he is a disciplined hitter who will take pitches and not only allow himself but the guys hitting behind him to see all of a starting pitcher's pitches. He is just 0 for his last 11, 2 for 21, but does have 4 walks in that span. Fastball catches the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Again, the Angels won last night 7-3 after trailing 2-0. They came back with 5 runs in the 7th inning, 2 more in the 9th inning to win that ball game, the first of this 5-game series. This time Irabu misses away 3-1. Hideki, Jerry, will walk a few batters. I mean, he has walked 60 this year in 137 innings. And Palmeiro lines it. Jeter with a gem.
Palmeiro got a pitch that was up in the strike zone, made solid contact with it, but was denied a base hit on this diving play by shortstop Jeter. 7 errors this year, and I just wonder how many times he's made sparkling plays like that to prevent rallies from happening and to just set the tone for the ball game.
He not only has great range but an unbelievable arm. They have clocked his arm speed from short at 85 miles an hour. And you know what? Sometimes that will be a quick firing throw. 85 miles an hour is something. There's that slow curveball, which has been his change of pace, and evens the count against Randy Velarde. 1-1. Randy 3 for 4 last night to raise his average to 282. The Angels had so many stars. Velarde, Jack McDowell we talked about in our open, but certain Garrett Anderson, Gary DiSarcina were right there. It was such a complete ball game as McDowell kept the club in it for a long time, and the Angels glad to get that man in their foreground. Jim Edmonds back in the lineup. He suffered upper back problems when he ran into center field trying to pull down a drive by the Toronto Blue Jays on Friday. Ball slapped foul, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Irabu, a good fastball. You mentioned it in the open, probably around 95 miles an hour. A split finger, that's his second best pitch. But when you factor in that he has a slow curve, now it kind of completes his whole repertoire because he needed something to offset the velocity by his fastball and his splitter. He's been getting his curveball over consistently, and even though he does have a high number of walks compared to innings pitched, he's still won nearly twice as many as he's lost.
Velarde just grabs the top of that baseball and fouls it between the legs of Posada. It'll stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Irabu does have a low batting average, but he will get the ball up in the zone. I mean, he has given up 21 home runs in 137 innings. There are some pitchers this year nearing the 200 pitch mark that haven't even reached double figures. I can think of one man, and that's Roger Clemens. 3-2 in the split finger pitch. Jerry, you talked about his last game. He lost 16-5 to the Texas Rangers. They pounded him around for 7 runs in just 2 1/3 innings. Darren Erstad waiting his turn. Fastball just misses low, ball 4. So after the line out by Palmeiro, Velarde walks, and now Irabu will face Darren Erstad. Erstad struggled a bit last night in some of his swings, but did have a hit and an RBI. His average right now at .303, but we saw him twice in that dugout talking with Rod Carew, hitting instructor, and you went straight to Rod today to find out what that conversation might be about.
Darren has gotten into a habit of dropping his hands just a little bit as he prepares for the ball to come into the plate. Let's see if we can take a look at it. He's got his hands a little bit higher than what he did last night. Usually when he gets set for the pitch coming in, they're just right about at his neck. Now he's got it around chin high. The reason for that is that it allows his top hand to get over the top of his swing on the pitches that are up in the strike zone, the pitches that Erstad seems to like best. And what Rod was reminding him, don't try to get on top by pulling your back elbow, your left elbow, parallel to the ground. Keep your elbows close together because that gives you the quickness, and if you raise your hands, that allows that top hand to work. Let's see how he sets up. Well, he's got that elbow out just a little bit.
And there's a letter high fastball from Hideki Irabu that will even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. And you'll hear a lot of hitting instructors talk about that back elbow. You know, when I grew up, we're told to keep that elbow up, and that's not necessarily the case. Tony Gwynn restructured Greg Vaughn's swing this year, and look the kind of season he has had. Just misses inside, not by much. 2-1. Irabu signed with the Yankees in May last year in 1997, a 4-year contract. Velarde does not go, and Erstad lifts it in the air left field. Chad Curtis under it. He will make the catch for the second out of this first inning. Now the Angels' designated hitter, Tim Salmon, who had 2 hits last night, and his average continues to soar up near the 299 mark. He was fighting it around 259 inside the 260s for much of the season. But my goodness, this month of August has been better than 400, and he's hitting .443 now in his last 20 games. Velarde does not go, and the pitch is taken for a strike.
What's interesting with Salmon, when he gets hot, he sprays the ball to all fields. Now, you remember the home run that he hit over the weekend to right center field. Hit it better than 420 feet into the bleachers.
And last night he started that 7th inning for the Angels with an opposite field double just below the 385 marker, but off the wall. Deep drive, staying with the pitches. As you said earlier, they were going to pitch him away, and Tim was thinking right along with you.
What's also is interesting is that when Salmon starts spraying the ball, suddenly his power numbers pick up because hitters then try to adjust from the outside corner and going back inside. And that's really where he likes to pitch best.
That catches the outside corner. Irabu coming right out with fastballs. Now he has the options with the slow curve or his second best pitch, which might be a strikeout pitch in his split finger.
Don't think he wants to use a slow curve in this situation unless he wants to throw it to miss just to show it. I would save that pitch for the next time through the batting order and go after him with my second best pitch. That's the splitter. Let's see what the Yankees are thinking. Yep, instead of throw over to first base.
Will they send Velarde here with 2 strikes on Salmon?
Possibility.
Velarde does not go. The pitch. Yes, Salmon went around. And Hideki Irabu has his first strikeout of the night. We head to the bottom of the inning. Knobloch, Jeter, O'Neill coming up for New York. It is a beautiful night in New York City. Some rain was expected because of Hurricane Bonnie, but not tonight. And it's the Angels and New York Yankees in the bottom of the first inning. Joe Torre sent this lineup to home plate. He will start things with his second baseman Chuck Knobloch, and then batting second, shortstop Derek Jeter. In the 3 spot, right fielder Paul O'Neill. Batting fourth, Bernie Williams leads the American League in hitting. Hitting fifth, Tino Martinez. Then it's Darryl Strawberry who leads the club in home runs with 22. Jorge Posada bats 7th. Chad Curtis, the former Angel, will hit 8th, and Scott Brocious will bat 9th.
Omar Olivares tonight makes his 29th appearance, his 22nd start. It's been an up and down kind of season for Olivares since the middle of June, because he had a 3-game winning streak and then went on to lose 6 of his next 7 ball games out there. And now he's back on a 2-game winning streak. So up and down, and Olivares in his last 3 starts, so has come on strong. Just 3 or 6 earned runs in 22 and 2/3 innings. Something to watch for with Olivares. If he's on, you're going to see that ball with a lot of sink as it comes up toward home plate. And if you want to know a pretty good ratio for Olivares, if he's on, he's going to get 2 out of every 3 outs, either by a ground ball or by a strikeout.
He struck out the first 4 Tigers he faced in his last game. Angels gave him 13 runs that night as Anaheim beat Detroit 13-2. And Olivares went 8 innings, gave up 7 hits, only walked 1. And that's key, because how many times have we seen him with 2 balls and no strikes? And here he started Chuck Knobloch with 2-0. And he gets that sinker in there. 2 balls, 1 strike.
First 2 pitches, though, were fastballs. Olivares, his best pitch, no doubt, is his sinker. But he has a tendency at times to throw that fastball trying to overpower hitters, or to try to sneak something by them with his split finger, which is a good pitch, too. Look at that sinker. Outside corner. Screeches out there. Nothing Knobloch can do, so he takes it. The count evens out at 2. One more time. Take a look at this sinker on that outside corner. Notice that late movement. You can see then, at that point, why a guy like Olivares gets a lot of ground balls.
Well, Knobloch stayed down with the pitch, lines into left field for a hit. And New York starts well with a base hit by Chuck Knobloch. The Angels defensively have to be on their toes, as Jerry said, with that sinker ball working. Gloss, DeSarcina, Velarde, Erstad will get a lot of work. Palmeiro, Edmonds, Anderson in the outfield. Matt Walbeck catches Omar Olivares. And it is good to have the Gold Glover back in center field, Jim Edmonds. He has missed the last 3 because of upper back problems when he slammed into center field at Edison International Field on Friday. Now the dangerous Derek Jeter. He has 8 hits in his last 19 at-bats to raise his average to .326. He is one of 4 or 5 Yankees with a chance at over 100 runs this year, as Derek has 102, and there are 3 or 4 others who could go over that mark. Yeah, they love Derek Jeter here. He is the most eligible bachelor in New York City. Got it in on his hands. Olivares up. His play is first base. 1 out. Knobloch goes to second.
Olivares puts himself in great fielding position after he delivers a pitch. He was a shortstop growing up, but his father had said, look, you're not going to make the big leagues as a shortstop, even though you're pretty good at this level. But you have a pretty good arm, and you have the capacity to learn, so we're going to make you a pitcher. So it's like having an extra infielder out there. Olivares gets himself in good position, fields his ground ball, knows that Knobloch with pretty good speed is going to beat the play at second, opts for the out at first base, and the Yankees, with that out, have a runner in scoring position.
And now Olivares must face Paul O'Neill. Well, if Lou Gehrig was the pride of the Yankees back in the 20s and 30s, Paul O'Neill has to be the pride of the Yankees in the 1990s. Because he is their veteran. You talk to guys who've been around, won world championships, guys like Strawberry and Cone that we visited with yesterday and today, and they say, this is the pro. He is the leader. He is the guy who stepped forward when this club started out 2-4. And he had just a wonderful conversation in the clubhouse of the Kingdome. There's the pride of the Yankees, Lou Gehrig. Well, he's batting .316. That is 5th career in Yankee history, behind names like Ruth, Gehrig, Combs, DiMaggio. Not bad. And that ball smoked towards center field. A long run for Jim Edmonds, but he will run it down. Tagging at second, going to third is Chuck Knobloch, and 2 outs.
O'Neill right on this sinker. It's up just a little bit. And O'Neill was right on top of it. First from the location of the pitch, just below the belt. O'Neill, a pretty good hitter, whether it's high or it's low, realizes that he hits it out to Death Valley. That's Yankee Stadium. Edmonds goes back. And you can see him right now telling Garrett Anderson over in right field just how that ball was carrying as it came to center field. But Edmonds was able to run it down and 2 out in first.
Now Bernie Williams. Gold Glove winners last year. Ken Griffey Jr., of course, but then Edmonds in center field and Bernie Williams for the New York Yankees. Olivares brings it, and Williams swings and misses. Jim Edmonds is trying to break in a new glove. I spotted him underneath Edison International Field the other day, taking line drives at 40 feet from the pitching machine at about 80 miles an hour. He's trying to break it in, also get his reflexes back. And he said it was mainly to break it in. That's a new glove. He says the old one's just garbage. And I said, hey, that's the one that won you the gold last year. He said it's too old now. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bernie Williams.
Besides, it's plated in gold. Can't play with it.
Gets heavy and balls have a tendency to clang off of it.
Can't have that.
Williams now with 20 home runs. He was stuck on 10 for a while, but since the All-Star break has really been hot in the power department. Hit home runs in 3 consecutive games last week. I think the Texas Rangers are glad to see him gone because he beat them one night. Was part of their huge victory on Saturday. Brocious with the game-winning home run, but twice this man came up with either a double or a home run in their 12-9 victory on Saturday. Knobloch third base. 2 outs, first inning. And good pitch by Omar Olivares. That may have been a split finger.
Beauty of this pitch, though, is that you pretty much anticipate the reaction from his sinker. So you're looking for something that's going to break down, but when he pulls back on it a little bit, that means changing speeds and has more of a dip to it. You still have to make an adjustment. Williams couldn't do it on that pitch.
Ground ball in the hole, past Velarde into right field. Knobloch comes home, and New York takes a 1-0 lead.
If you're a sinker ball pitcher, your team can expect a lot of ground balls. And when you get a lot of ground balls, you have to anticipate that some of them are going to get through. Fastball, it tailed back out over the plate. Erstad gives up on it just a little bit. Didn't want to get caught in no man's land. Velarde dives, but he does so in vain as this ball trickles into right field. And Knobloch was at third, was able to come around and score the game's first run.
Now Tino Martinez. Williams dives back in to first base. Williams with 14 stolen bases this year. Olivares does have a pretty good move. But this is a ball club that will be very aggressive. They're second in the American League in stolen bases. More than 130.
You know, when you mentioned yesterday at the top of the show talking about where this New York ball club stands against the American League in the different categories, I couldn't believe how many different categories there were where they're number 1. So I had to look it up today, and I got them all listed in front of me. There's about a dozen of them where they're either number 1 or number 2.
That's in the dirt, blocked by Matt Walbeck. Ball 1 to Tino Martinez. They do it every which way. Joe Torre proud of his ball club, not only the numbers they put up, but the character, the professionalism that they have brought to every single night. Olivares misses outside, and you talk important categories: first in batting, first in runs, first in on-base percentage, first in pitching, first in saves, first in fewest home runs allowed. First and fewest walks allowed. It's easy to understand why they are 94-34. 18-game lead on the Boston Red Sox. They are first in the East. Olivares misses high. 3 balls, no strikes. Now Walbeck comes out for a visit and maybe saying here, you know what, even if we lose Tino, there's runners in first and second, but if you try and just be aggressive, he might have the green light, and all of a sudden it's a 3-0 ball game.
I'm sure the conversation is in that vein, but I think it probably goes a little bit more like this. What do you want to do here? Do you want to walk him intentionally, or do you want to try to pitch to him and come back? Gary Collins like to know that too. He wants to get out of this first inning, stop the bleeding right here.
Martinez fouls it back 3-1.
Gave us pretty good indication, did it? Let's go after him. Let's see what we can do. We're early in the ball game. Our team has been able to come back. We keep the ball game close, as we saw last night in the first game of this series.
May want that fork ball right here. That's busted foul. 3-2 now. Well, that fork ball, if it was a fork ball, it did not fork. It was more like a spoon, just laid up there for you.
And Martinez knifed it, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Knifed it foul.
Well, we have all the cutlery on the table here. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out in the first inning. The New Yorkers already leading 1-0. Base hit by Williams. He's at first base. That scored Chuck Knobloch. Center field. Edmonds racing back. He's at the wall. It's off the wall. Williams will score. It is 2-0 New York.
Martinez last year hit 44 home runs. That obviously a career high, with many of them going into right field. But yet he shows great power to left field, left center field, in fact, on this sinker toward the outside part of the plate. Talk about carry. This ball carried a long way, especially if Jimmy Edmonds can't run it down. It goes over his head, bounces off the wall. Williams comes around to score, and the Yankees got something going early in this ballgame.
And now a guy who might be a huge threat to Olivares, because Darryl Strawberry has always been a great low fastball hitter. He likes that ball around the knees and just can use that bat as a whip, taking it into right field. Olivares tries to come inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Darryl has been coming off the bench lately because Chili Davis coming off the disabled list. He has played the last 2 games. Straw leads the club in home runs and can't start every day. Smacks it foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When he came up, he was the very best in the game. Now 36 years of age, out of Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles. In '87, he had a tremendous year, hitting 39 home runs. But the 22 this year, the most he has had since 1991. Olivares comes inside. Martinez second base. Out comes Matt Walbeck. Omar Olivares has pitched very well recently. In his last 5 games, he's averaged 7 innings a start, averaged 116 pitches a game, and less than 3 earned runs. The Angels would take that tonight.
Yeah, bottom line is the fact that he keeps the team in the ball game and he eats up a lot of innings.
Right now he's throwing a lot of pitches in this first inning.
And it's important for the Angels to get a lot of innings out of Olivares tonight, considering the fact that tomorrow it's a split doubleheader. First game, 10 o'clock California time, followed by the nightcap. That'll be at 4:30.
Ooh, that hurt. Fouled that right off Matt Walbeck, and Matt will need a little time here.
It was in New York City that shin guards were first used. That was back in 1917 by a catcher with the New York Giants. Matt Wahlbeck is thankful that that catcher came out with that invention at the time.
Can you believe that if he's playing back before the turn of the century and that ball's fouled by, you're gone. Your career might be over.
Yeah, you spit on it, rub some dirt in it, and let's go. Different time, different place.
3-2 to Strawberry. Martinez, second base. And he throws him a forkball on 3-2. A lot of confidence in his off speed, but he gives up 2 runs in the inning. It's 2-0 Yankees. Our associate producer Jamie Weimer must have friends in the Big Apple. They put up a sign. Happy birthday, Jamie. Happy birthday to you. Jamie Weimer says for her birthday she'd like an Angel victory. We shall see. The Angels will have to come back. Jack McDowell was behind 2-0, and his club gave him 5 runs in the 7th inning to take the lead and win it 7-3.
Well, that was her second birthday wish. Her first birthday wish is a huge raise.
How about Chuck Finley? Last night sitting next to Jack McDowell and talking, and now he sits right down next to Omar Olivares, and they discuss the problems that may have gone wrong in that first inning. There's Garrett Anderson taking a slow curve from Hideki Irabu, strike 1. Good fastball. Wow.
You get a location like that with a 95-mile-an-hour heater, it's going to be an easy night.
Chops that foul. It stays. No balls and 2 strikes to Garrett Anderson, who really gave the Angels their first life last night, down 2-0. Tim Salmon had just led off the 7th inning with a double, and on the very first pitch to Garrett Anderson, he crushed it. At first report, it was 425 feet. We later learned it was like 447. And throws the bat away, and the ball goes right into the glove of Posada, and Hideki Irabu has his second strikeout.
2 men in a row fanned by the Yankees right-hander. Boy, how about those pitches that he threw to him? 3 pitches down in the strike zone. Look at this last one. Split finger. Anderson fooled by the pitch, takes a pretty good cut, loses control of his bat, becomes a strikeout victim. I talked to Garrett before the ball game and I asked about the home runs. You know it was gone? He says, not many of them do I ever bother to watch because normally I'm running. I never hit that many to even care to watch, but I knew that one was gone yesterday. But I didn't think it was going to go quite that far.
It hit way up over the 1 row of seats off the Utz potato chip sign that is beyond the second deck. There's the spot. There's the overhang of the deck. Behind it is the Utz potato chip sign. There's Edmonds, and he takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jim Edmonds. Edmonds homered off Hideki Irabu last August 20th at Anaheim. That was the same game in which Todd Green was injured. Finley broke his wrist the night before, and then Green broke it on the 20th. And the Angel fortunes really went down the drain after that. They had a half-game lead on the Seattle Mariners, lost their next 3, and never were really a threat to the M's after that. Edmonds fouls it off, stays 1-2. Jim told Terry Collins yesterday that he would be available for late inning defensive purposes. Took something off. Edmonds swings through, and Irabu has 3 straight strikeouts.
He's mixing his pitches perfectly right now, and his location. That fastball still rushing up there better than 90 miles an hour, but he's changing speeds with that split finger. Then when he goes up the ladder to Edmonds, swings right through it, becomes a strikeout victim.
Now Troy Gloss challenges with the fastball, but just misses high. 1 ball and no strikes. Troy has the 1 home run, came against the Toronto Blue Jays a week ago last Sunday off Chris Carpenter came in a losing effort, though, as both Gloss and Chris Pritchett hit their first major league home runs. But he has been learning on the job. Troy Gloss at AA, AAA, now the major leagues this year. You know, he also played instructional league baseball last year and also played winter baseball. He was telling Terry Collins the other day he figures in the last calendar year from August to August he's had 900 at bats.
You know, it used to be in baseball, as Glaus takes a look at ball 4, that they figured that a player coming through the minor leagues wasn't ready until he had at least 1,000 at bats before he got through the system and came to the big leagues. For pitchers, it was 500 innings. Of course, when you have a talent like Gloss, you accelerate things a little bit, particularly when he performs as well as he has at every level that he's played.
And he did in the minor leagues this year with 35 home runs in AA and AAA. And then called up. And obviously, Dave Hollins on the disabled list for the rest of the year because of the bad shoulder. Here's Malbeck, and Matt takes low. Fastball catches the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Malbeck only hitting 186 his last 21 games. And that coupled with some of the offensive woes that Phil Nevin has gone through, and the Angels waiting for Charlie O'Brien, perhaps when the rosters expand in a week, as Charlie's just beginning his rehab, swinging the bat. He'll be down at Lake Elsinore. I'm sorry, in AA Midland. He'll be starting his AA rehab at Midland. And perhaps we'll see Charlie O'Brien, one of the great defensive catchers in the game, next week.
Might see him before this road trip's up. As early as Cleveland. That's the first part of next week.
Malbeck pops it up. Left side, Scott Brocious near the stands. Makes the catch. Ending the Angels' second inning. We head to the bottom of number 2. Posada, Curtis, and Brocious will come up. Angels baseball on KCAL 9 is brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Right now, get 8 pieces of chili lime chicken for just $7.99. Only at El Pollo Loco and by your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. There's a look at the Staten Island Ferry. Wonder where it's going. It's like the old question, who was buried in Grant's tomb? The New York Yankees have a 2-0 lead on the Anaheim Angels. And to lead things off, Jorge Posada. And Posada takes up high, ball 1. Jorge had a great Sunday. Now, the Yankees did lose that final game against the Texas Rangers, but Posada hit 2 home runs in this contest. This guy's got good power, 15 home runs, and they love his defense. Olivares tried to nail that forkball in the outside corner. It misses. 3 balls and no strikes.
Slightly open stance. Yeah, open. He's back in the box, slightly open stance. Sees that fastball in the outside corner. So Olivares trying to come back and get the leadoff hitter in the second inning. He's open as the pitch comes in, but he'll close things as he takes a step toward the pitcher. Look at Olivares, like a cat. It's that extra infielder, isn't it? Comes down with that ground ball, that 1 hopper, and fires to first. So he works his way out of what could have been a jam, unlike what he did in the first inning.
You talked about his dad, Ed, who was with the St. Louis Cardinals. George Hendrick, he played for the Cardinals as well. Chuck Finley will go against these New York Yankees on Thursday, but Ed Olivares was an outfielder and third baseman. The Cardinal system didn't go very far, and because of that, he thought his son had a better chance as a pitcher, and he did. But now 8 years in the major leagues. Here's the former Angel, Chad Curtis, a former 45th round draft choice out of Grand Canyon. Went there with the Angels' Tim Salmon. Fastball stays upstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Do you know when Omar was with St. Louis, his number wasn't 39, it was 00. Ground ball, Troy Gloss. Nice play. And 2 outs. And I bring that up because those are his initials. Omar Oliveras and Bob Tewksbury went into the skipper Joe Torre and said, "Hey, Skip, can I have my numbers changed to BT?" Like Omar Oliveras has his initials on his back.
And you think this job of managing is easy, huh?
Love the game. Here's Scott Brocious. The changeup, strike 1.
Pretty good numbers, aren't they? 293, considering the fact that he's just hitting a little bit over 200 last year.
He's 90 points higher, 203 last year. And I'm also impressed about his RBIs in the 7, 8, 9 position. He has 80 runs driven in last year with Oakland. His confidence was shattered. He had the lowest batting average with men in scoring position at 122. Only at 41 runs driven in. Has doubled that this year.
Still got a good month. 5 weeks left in the season. You know, with a pretty good 5 weeks, he's got a chance to drive in 100.
No question.
Especially with his ball club that leads the American League in on-base percentage, 367. So you got guys from numbers 1 through 9 in the lineup that get on base. Nice job of blocking the ball by Wahlbeck. Notice when that ball goes in the dirt, how he just tightens up his upper body in an attempt to keep it in front of him.
And now the ball gets by Matt on the strikeout, and Brocious will make first base.
Oliveras and Wahlbeck figured that if one sinker can get him, he can go after one sinker, then why not try another one? This one in the dirt. This time Wahlbeck tries to backhand the ball rather than keep it in front of him. It scoots away, and Brocious, with 2 outs, is able to reach first base.
It will be charged as a wild pitch. Now Chuck Knobloch comes to the plate, who singled his last time up and scored the first of 2 Yankee runs in the first inning. Both runs that the Yankees scored came with 2 outs. 2 outs here with a man at first base in Brocious, and he goes, and the pitch taken, and Wahlbeck drops the baseball.
Tenth stolen base of the season by Brocious. Watch what happens to Wahlbeck. Backhands this ball, but when he reaches in his glove, he can't quite find the handle. Eventually he drops it, so Brocious goes to second in scoring position, uncontested.
So the Angels have to rally now because they have given the New York Yankees an extra out on the strikeout, the wild pitch. That allowed Brocious to reach first base. He steals second base. You do not want to give the Yankees, or any team, an extra out, but you give this club an extra out or 2 in an inning, and they can bury you. He fouls it back, and with that last steal by Scott Brocious, it was his 10th stolen base of the year, and he has just set a new American League record. That just gave the Yankees 5 players with 10+ home runs and 10+ steals. Williams, O'Neill, Knobloch, and Jeter are the other 4.
You know, before it's all over, I bet they're going to set a whole bunch of records, including the one that's most talked about, and that is the most wins in a season for a ball club.
116 set by the 1906 Chicago Cubs. Joe Torre knows all about that. He also knows about the pressure. And then he had to hear from our friend Sparky Anderson. Sparky told me to tell Joe, he says, you tell Giuseppe that he's doing a lousy job, that if I had that ball club, they'd have 110 wins. And then Sparky, of course, laughed with his tongue firmly implanted in his cheek. And Joe said, "You tell George that sounds like George." They're great friends. Fastball stays high. Figure Sparky Anderson was one of the men responsible for Joe Torre moving back into the managing business when he went to St. Louis.
Seems that a lot of people go to Sparky for advice, don't they?
I do too. Center field, Jim Edmonds had to get a good read on it and just froze as the ball was struck. Wanted to see where it was going, then drifts back to make the catch, so they turn back the Yankees in the second. Beautiful night in New York City. Manhattan just across the way, and we welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. This is the 95th year for Yankee baseball. Actually, they began as the old Hilltoppers in 1903, playing at Hilltop Park until 1912. Then the Polo Grounds from 1913 to 1922, and then Yankee Stadium was built in 1923, and this is the 75th anniversary. Here's Gary DeSarcina, and he puts a charge into that one, sending Chad Curtis way back. It will roll over the wall. It will be a ground rule double for Gary DeSarcina, and he has had a wonderful start at Yankee Stadium with 3 hits last night, including the game winner, breaking that 2-2 tie in the 7th inning, and now to start things well in this 3rd.
Fastball by Arabu. It's on the inside part of the plate. DeSarcina, better high ball hitter, but as of late he's been hitting everything, and this time he hits it with power. It's it right out there in baseball's Death Valley, left center field at Yankee Stadium, and I bet you that in most parks in the American League, if not all parks, that's a home run. All parks but this one.
Well, Gary now has 35 doubles. The Angels have 4 players over 30 this year. Here is Orlando Palmeiro. He shows bunt and then pulls it back. That's ball 1 to Orlando Palmeiro. That will bring Brocious in at 3rd base, and at 1st base is Tino Martinez. Irabu, of all of their pitchers, is their worst fielder. Not to say he's bad, but they have some very good fielding pitchers in this club, like David Cone. There's the bunt. Irabu up. He'll go to 1st base and get Orlando there. Going to 3rd in the play is Gary DeSarcina. Last night, Andy Pettit, the man in the foreground, was working with Joe Girardi, his catcher, right next to him. And Pettit was fantastic until the 7th inning. And there was some talk in the newspapers this morning that the Angels believed that Pettit was tipping off his pitches. Joe Torre said, wait a second, the guy's great for 6 innings, bad for 1, and then good in the 8th. He said he was just throwing some pitches down the middle of the plate, some bad pitches.
Hanging curveball to Garrett Anderson, who slugged it over 400 feet. And then he had 3 consecutive hitters, Nevin, DeSarcina, and the top of the lineup.
Well, Gloss also had a single, double, Nevin, and then the double by DeSar.
But he had 2 strikes on 3 consecutive hitters and couldn't close the deal. That led to his downfall. A 5-run outburst by the Angels that went on to win the ball game last night.
Now Randy Velarde. Terry Collins saw his club come back from a 2-0 deficit last night to win. They've won 3 games in a row. Their lead in the American League West stays at 2.5 games over the Texas Rangers. Rangers, meantime, are playing the Detroit Tigers right now. And in that contest, it is Brian Powell against Todd Stottlemyre. Anaheim with the 2.5 game lead. Seattle got home run number 44 from Ken Griffey Jr. last night, but they are 9 games under 500. That was the fastball they wanted, about belt high and middle away, but he just got under it, fouls it off. It's 2-2.
Velarde looking for a pitch that he can hit in the air to the outfield. That would guarantee a run if it's deep enough. But also, the Angels could score a run with a ground ball to either short or second, as both Jeter and Knobloch are playing back. It's a foul at the plate, 2-2.
Hideki Irabu is not afraid of throwing that split finger pitch in this situation, even with a man at third base. Almero and Rod Carew visiting. There's a tapper up the middle. Jeter fields it. His throw to first base is in time, but Randy does his job getting Gary DiSarcina home from third base and cutting the New York Yankees lead in half.
Jeter showed pretty good range in his ground ball over the bag. Got the high hop, was able to throw out Velarde with ease. What's important, though, is that the Angels put one on the board, so a leadoff double, a sacrifice to put him just 90 feet away, it pays off for the Angels.
So that's 5 straight games with an RBI for Randy Velarde, and they have been important ones. He won both Saturday and Sunday's games against the Toronto Blue Jays. Very instrumental in yesterday's win. But he had the game-winning RBI Saturday and Sunday. That Sunday game was a tremendous comeback where the Angels fought off Toronto to win it 3-2. Erstad breaks his bat, pops it up left side, racing over Posada, and he will make the catch. The Angels, though, score a run in the inning and have cut the Yankees' lead to 2-1. The Toyota dealers of Southern California present Toyota Scores Every Day.
Hi, I'm Tim Mead, Vice President of Communications with the Anaheim Angels. For the past several years, I've been fortunate enough to be affiliated with a couple very important charitable organizations, Ronald McDonald House and Amigos de los Niños, which is Friends of the Children.
Toyota Scores Every Day, and you can too. Watch KCAL 9 for your chance to win tickets to an upcoming game. Compliments of Toyota, you can win 4 Angels tickets to an upcoming game. Tune in to 1110 KRLA tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock and identify Tim Mead as tonight's featured Angel, and you can score 4 Angels tickets. Omar Olivares ready for his 3rd inning of work after the Angels scored a run in the top of the 3rd. And here is Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams, middle of the lineup. Olivares comes high with that fastball. Roy Smalley had 16 back in 1982. That's their middle infielders. Knobloch and Jeter have combined for 33 home runs. I think you have to go way back to 1943. Joe Gordon hit 17 home runs, the most of any Yankee second baseman. Ground ball base hit back up the middle by Jeter.
I think Knobloch, Jeter are going to play a long time together, being the keystone combination for this ball club. And when it's all said and done, they're going to set just about all the records. Here's a pitch by Olivares over the heart of the plate. I mentioned that he's a pretty good fielder. He got himself in position, but that ball was just by him before he could set up. One more time, past Olivares, rolls into center field, so Jeter's on with a leadoff single.
And he has speed, 24 stolen bases this year. We talk about keystone combinations. Well, he grew up watching one in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell. They played together for a long, long time. Here's Olivares throwing it away. 1 ball, no strike. His years with the Reds, the last few seasons with Cincinnati, his skipper and his hitting instructor was Lou Piniella. Piniella wanted Paul to be more of a power hitter, and his average went down. Yes, his power did go up, but he always felt he was a line drive hitter. He just figured the home runs will come. If I get 15 to 20, that's fine. But Lou figured he was more of a 30 to 35, even a 40 home run guy. Came to New York. He's hit 300 every single season here. Acquired from the Reds for Roberto Kelly in 1992. Not a bad deal.
What makes him such a good hitter is that he uses the whole field. He'll take a pitch in the outside corner to left field just as easily as he could turn on a fastball that's inside.
And he goes to left field and deep, and that ball is gone.
Piniella was thinking about. Or maybe it wasn't because he went to left field on this pitch. The location of the pitch, out over the plate. O'Neill dives into it, hits back in the strike zone and drives this ball down that left field line. It got under it a little bit, but that ball had a lot of carry. O'Neill figures if it seems to have the distance, if it stays fair, it's out of here. And he was right. 5 or 6 rows back, puts another pair on the board for the Yankees. And not only do they recover from the 1 run that the Angels scored, but they add 1 to it. They lead 4-1 in this ball game.
Anaheim won last night 7-3, but O'Neill just clattered his 19th home run of the season. And he has given New York a 4-1 lead now in the 3rd inning. And you just talked about his ability to not only use the entire field. Now Williams goes up the middle. They've rolled 2 up the middle in Jeter and Williams, and then in between is the home run by Paul O'Neill. But you just talked about his ability to go to all fields and his ability to go to all fields with power. So Omar Olivares has run into his first rut since that 1st inning when he gave up 2 runs. You talk about him spraying the ball. He's a hard man to defend. I guess straight away in the outfield, straight away on the infield. 1 ball, no strikes to Tino Martinez. The Angels have their bullpen busy. That is New York native Alan Watson.
Boy, they are patient, aren't they?
Unbelievably patient.
Martinez, a power threat, 22 this year. Down a little bit, obviously, from the 44 he had last year. But look where the Yankees are. You got to figure anytime a guy has a career year, the following year, he's just not going to duplicate those numbers. So he's hitting a more realistic number for a guy like Tino Martinez. The Yankees have come on as late, hitting home runs since the All-Star break. They lead the American League in that department. But why not? They lead the American League in just about every offensive department there is.
Hot foul and out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike to Tino Martinez. We were talking about this yesterday, Jerry. The fact that they take so many pitches. I mean, consistently this year, that New York lineup has a starting pitcher with about 100 pitches in the 5th inning. And here we are, Olivares in the 3rd inning, and he's already thrown 56 pitches. That's way too many for a sinker ball pitcher. There's Chambliss and Mel Stottlemyre. Chambliss has been their hitting instructor this year. And when you have the people to work with, it makes instructing a lot easier.
You almost have to look up to the sky and say thank you.
You've got to have the pupils. And not just the ones you see with. Runner goes, throw to second is in time. Nice throw by Matt Walbeck, and they got Williams by plenty.
Williams looking for his 15th stolen base is denied. Look at Walbeck. Out quick, got his arm in position. A perfect peg to DiSarcina, who's waiting there to apply the tag.
Pena with a ground ball down that first base side, but foul. Count will run full now, 3-2. First base umpires Brian Honora calling balls and strikes. Jim Joyce, second base Field and Culbreth, and at third base Al Clark. It's going to be an interesting offseason for Bernie Williams. He is a free agent once again. Now this is a city that can afford to pay him. And he is asking for a lot of money. Line drive in the gap, left center field, and Tino Martinez has Olivares' number tonight. He is 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles. And now in his career, he has 6 hits and 9 at-bats, 3 of them extra base hits.
A pair of doubles for Martinez, both to left center field. And both in the same kind of pitch, a sinker to the outside part of the plate. Martinez stays back and drives this ball. Boy, they just keep coming at you. They've got home run power. They've got extra base power. They've got somebody who can get on the bag. They are impressive.
Now Darryl Strawberry. And after the fork ball, strike one. That's some power. You don't have to work that hard running around the bases. Fastball stays upstairs, evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Jack McDowell, the Angels, very fortunate to watch him win last night as he went 7 solid innings. The start prior to that against Detroit shut out the Tigers for 7 innings. So he has been outstanding since coming off the disabled list with just 2 runs allowed in 14 innings. Inside. How about this 3rd inning, and he's already thrown 60 pitches. That's good for the Yankees. Not good for the Angels. Inside, 3-2, another 3-2 count by Omar Olivares. Omar only has 3 ground ball outs, and you said if 2 of his 3 can either be ground outs or strikeouts, he's having a good game. He's had a lot of pop-ups. And heck, he had 1 out this inning by a runner caught stealing.
And that's an unexpected gift. So Olivares struggling in the early going here. He's already given up 4. The Angels trail by 3. He's going to have to shut the door here. Can't let this game get out of hand because these guys can put him on the board in a hurry. Posada had a real good game in Texas with a pair of home runs. Waits on deck.
He throws that fastball right by him, came up and in, and strikes out Strawberry for the 2nd out of the 3rd inning.
Strawberry, a good low ball hitter, likes to extend those arms, but he's looking fastball on this pitch. Gets it just above the belt. Strawberry, that loop in his swing, can't quite catch up with it. Becomes a strikeout victim for the 2nd time this evening.
So Olivares will deal with Jorge Posada. Guy he did get out on a ground out his last time up. Jorge just chopped one right back to Omar, threw him out. Jorge hit home runs from each side of the plate in his last game that he started against the Texas Rangers on Sunday. 1 from left side, 1 from the right side. And he finds a strike zone there. Mickey Mantle did it. Roy White, Bernie Williams has done it. Tom Tresh, Roy Smalley, and Jorge Posada did it on Sunday. But he is not as strong from this side as he is batting from the right side against the lefty. Got it on the inside corner. Now he's quickly in front. No balls, 2 strikes to Posada. Martinez second base with 2 outs. Forkball just misses inside.
Had a little bend to it, did it?
You know what? He really has pretty good control with that pitch. It's been his fastball that has flattened out, and he's not had that great sink to tonight. That's wound up around the thighs or belt that has been belted. The too many extra base hits. Got that one up, and it has popped out of play.
Might have gotten away with a fastball over the heart of the plate. Posada fouls this one off.
Olivares has given up 4 runs, 2 in the 1st, now 2 in the 3rd inning. Broke his bat, fouls it off. It stays 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Jorge will need to dig up a new piece of lumber. Find that glove. A little Jeter fan, lost it twice. There's your old friend Jose Cardinal, the first base coach for the Yankees. Posada has to get the new pine tar.
How about Jose coaching first base? Got conked in the head about a month ago with a thrown ball. Had his head turned just a little bit. A ball came in. I guess he was watching the base runner. And he missed the first baseman's glove and got him right in the head, so he had to be taken out.
Oh, my goodness. That sounds like it's right out of the movie Major League when they're going through their troubled times. There's Arabu. He's had a long stay in the dugout. The Angels hope it is worn on him. He won't have the same consistency that he showed in the first 2 innings. Olivares brings it way outside 2-2. Omar Olivares has been laboring after really 5 quality starts, averaging 7 innings in those 5 starts and 3 earned runs or less in each. 3-2. He had him 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Olivares almost up near the 70 pitch mark. And you take a look at Jack McDowell, who threw last night, and Jack threw a total of 78 pitches in 7 innings.
It just gives you a perspective, doesn't it, of how good McDowell pitched last night, because it's not that easy to go out there and have command the way that McDowell did after that long layup. Then a guy like Olivares, who's been pitching more regularly than a guy like McDowell, has struggled tonight. There's Jack. Talked to him before the ball game, asked him how he felt. He said, not any stiffer than I normally was before. When he talks about 100% now, he says 100% of what I had last night, you got.
That was enough. Posada, what a great at-bat by Jorge. He was behind the count, 0-2. Fouled off a couple of pitches, took a couple out of the strike zone, fouled off a couple more. This is a tough at-bat.
And he's had a couple of pitches that have been in the zone that are hitters' pitches. He's fouled them both off.
Martinez doubled. 2 runs already home in this inning on the 2-run home run by Paul O'Neill to deep left field. And he misses ball 4. So Olivares close to 80 pitches, and we're still in the 3rd inning. His control has been up, down, erratic, in and out of the strike zone. And Jerry, he's had a number of pitches that haven't even been close.
Wild outside the strike zone and wild within it. He's gotten a couple of pitches up, and the Yankees have jumped all over him.
Now Chad Curtis. Ground ball short. DeSarcina gets the force at second base. The Yankees do score 2 on the 2-run home run by Paul O'Neill. When you are the skipper of a team that is 60 games over 500, you're having fun. And that's Joe Torre with the New York Yankees. We asked him how proud he is of the club that he's seen this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys have been here from '96, and after winning the World Series in '96, getting in the postseason last year, and then doing what we're doing this year, there's a lot of pride. And let's admit it, you call attention to yourself, and all of a sudden you realize you don't want to embarrass yourself. And the guys want to win. I have an unusual group because they'd like to knock in the winning run, each and every one of them, but they don't want anybody to ask them about it. So it's unusual, and I'm pleased to be the manager.
Interesting, Joe Torre grew up in Flatbush. Huge Dodger fan. Watched the Brooklyn Dodgers, hated the Yankees, and here he is, their skipper. There's a line drive to center field by Tim Salmon, and Bernie Williams will make another excellent catch.
And how about this with Torre? As a player, his career spanned 16, maybe 17 different seasons, and never once with the teams he played for, the Braves, the Cardinals, and the Mets, did he ever get to postseason play. But he becomes a manager, comes back to New York, and in 1996 realizes the ultimate as he led this Yankee ball club to a world championship.
And 96 almost did not happen. They were winning that world championship. Here's Garrett Anderson. And GA takes low. From August 1st to the middle of September, the Baltimore Orioles cut New York's 12-game lead to 2.5. And you think George Steinbrenner was chewing on the side of his mouth and chewing on his team?
And I think it was Joe who calmly said, hey, that's why you have a lead. You're going to have peaks and valleys during the course of the season. But wouldn't you rather experience something like this right now in August and early September rather than postseason?
And then they go into postseason. They get to the World Series. They play the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta wins the first 2 games here at Yankee Stadium. Steinbrenner comes into the clubhouse, and he is furious. And Torrey stops him right away. He says, George, forget it. Atlanta's my town. We'll go there, and we'll sweep them. George just turned around and left. And you know what? They went to Atlanta and swept him. And Joe said, hey, I had to come up with something. I knew he was steamed. They went to Atlanta, swept him there, and then won back in New York.
Now, see, previous managers of the Yankees, maybe except for Buck Showalter, probably would have gotten into a confrontation with the owner of this ball club. But Joe just diffused the situation, said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of business. We got the guys here who can do it. Like you said, they did it.
Ball comes low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
This is an important inning for the Angels. 2 in the first for the Yankees, 2 in the third. They trail by 3. They can put a couple of runs on the board. They can switch this momentum back in their favor.
Irabu has now walked 3 in the ball game. Fastball stays high and away to Jim Edmonds. Edmonds struck out swinging his first time up. Irabu's having a hard time finding that strike zone. Falling behind Jim Edmonds. Edmonds has been in a power slump. Here's a guy who's averaged almost 30 home runs a year the last 4 seasons. But Jim only has 2 in about the last 55 games. Last 57 he has 4 home runs. That's not like Edmonds. Jim had that great month of May where he had 8 home runs. Irabu now calls time, ties his shoe, digs back in. Hideki, a big man at 6 feet 3 inches tall and about 250 pounds. Edmonds takes a fastball in the outside corner. 3-1.
Don't let him rip this pitch if it's something he likes.
Stays upstairs, ball 4, so the Angels have a rally going here in the 4th inning. Salmon lined sharply to the center fielder Bernie Williams, but Anderson and Edmonds have walked, and now Troy Gloss comes to the plate, and he represents the tying run. The kid with 36 pro home runs this year. 19 at AA, 16 at AAA, and 1 in the major leagues. Had a hit last night, scored a run. Irabu has walked 4. Now time called. But it was a home run that got the Angels going last night. They were down by 2 runs. Andy Pettit had total control of that ball game. And then Garrett Anderson smokes one about 445 feet to deep right field, tying the game. Pettit lost his composure after that and lost control of his pitches. And the Angels would score 3 more in that inning. Mel Stottlemyre will be joined by the entire infield. Irabu has really slowed down his motion. I mean, he's taking a lot more time in between pitches.
I can see why Posada wants to go out and talk to him and find out, what are you thinking about? What's wrong here? We got to get you back into some kind of a groove here so that you can start throwing strikes. You got a 3-run lead. And let's not play around. It's getting too close to finish time. Well, the party's over. Everybody goes back to their respective positions. And Irabu is ready to deliver a pitch. Gloss, though, has had a little bit of time to think. Boy, what a whirlwind time he's had the past year plus, hasn't he? College World Series, and now he's in a pennant race. Fastball stays low. 1 ball, no strikes to Troy Gloss.
And you talked about the whirlwind year that he has had. He signed about this time his Angels contract last year. And because of all of the play that he's had the last calendar year, that's why they will not send him to instructional league. Fastball in there, 1 ball, 1 strike. Maybe Mel said, let's stop messing around. Let's come fastball. Keep the fastball down. Nope, guess not. Went with that slow curve. Stays away, 2-1. That may mean he's got to come in fastball now. 1-1, you're not sure. 2-1, pretty sure you're going to get the cheese.
When a pitcher has control problems, usually you go back to one pitch that you're almost certain that you can throw for a strike.
It was the fastball, and it's fouled off.
In a Roberts case, it is the fastball. And then once you establish that you can throw that, now you can all of a sudden work your other pitches off that same slot that you throw it and get yourself back into a groove where you can control the ball game.
That is not consistent enough. 31 in the strike zone, 31 out of the strike zone.
No,
The
that's a
2-2.
struggle.
Looked like Troy had it in his wheelhouse and just did miss it.
It wasn't a wheelhouse, but it was up there 90+ miles an hour, and it rushes up there rather quick, and you can't get that bad head through in time to drive the ball. But he did foul it off, and now he's seen 5 pitches from Marabo. He knows what he's got.
And he busts it back up the middle. Jeter fumbles the baseball and no play. The bases are loaded for Anaheim. If Jeter comes up with it cleanly, Jerry, he has the force at second base.
Has the force and maybe a double play if he can make the exchange quickly. But he loses control of the baseball, not once, but twice, so there's not going to be a play at any base. So this is truly being a gift inning set up for the Angels. A couple of walks and error by a usually steady shortstop. They've got the bases loaded, and Wahlbeck coming to the plate.
And that is only the 8th error this year on the New York shortstop. Garrett Anderson at third base, Jim Edmonds second, Troy Gloss at first base, and coming to the plate, Matt Wahlbeck. Wahlbeck goes after the first fastball, fouls it straight back, strike 1. I mean, the Angels would love to get back in this game with a big hit here, but it's important to at least get 1 run and keep coming back, keep that pressure on New York. Curveball misses inside. It is interesting the way the infield is defending Matt Wahlbeck. He has shown a good ability this year to go the opposite field. And look what Brocious has given him, a good 15 feet off the line at third base. Wahlbeck takes a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Key pitch in the sequence. The count 1-1. He doesn't want to get that count to 2-1 because everybody in the ballpark knows he's going to deliver a fastball. But this time it's a 1-1 fastball, gets that inside corner, and it has that kind of movement where it begins inside, comes back to clip that inside corner. It throws Wahlbeck and puts him in a position with the count 1-2, where it's in the favor of Arabu.
And he strikes him out.
Sets him up with a fastball and then comes in with a split finger. With a count 2-1, you look fastball, but with it 1-2 in a situation where you look for a strikeout, Arabu goes into his bag of tricks, comes up with a forkball, and gets the key strikeout.
So Gary DiSarcina steps to the plate with the bases loaded. Gary has 4 hits in 5 at-bats against New York on this trip, and he's done quite well against the Yankees. Gary takes ball 1.
Arabu, rather than coming in with a fastball, tries that splitter in the outside part of the plate. It misses. DiSarcina, who's had quite a series with 4 hits already, takes that pitch.
Well, he started Gary off with a fastball his last at bat, and DiSarcina ripped it into the alley in left field. Anderson third base. Edmonds second. Lost first, but now 2 outs. Wahlbeck just struck out. In there. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Arabu struggling but throwing quality pitches at quality times. Salmon visiting with hitting instructor Rod Carew. Rod was spending a lot of time watching the Arabu videotape before the ball game. That's off the corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. And whenever Arabu would throw a curveball, Rod would slow the videotape down and watch it, scene for scene.
Now they have a lot of different angles that they utilize. The angles from both dugouts so that they can see how the pitch is in elevation, and also the center field camera.
And we're leaving the count now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Arabu against Gary DiSarcina.
Well, with the count 2-2, Yankee fans are picking up the cheer, hoping for a strikeout to end this threat by the Angels. Arabu with a good fastball. Really, that's his bread and butter pitch, but his strikeout pitch is a split finger. With the count 2-2, I'm looking for a split finger.
Little tapper back to Hideki, throws to first base, ending the inning, and the Angels leave the bases loaded. We head to the bottom of the 4th. It's New York by 3. Anaheim Angels baseball on KCAL 9 is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, get in, be moved. Steve Physiak, Jerry Royce at Yankee Stadium in New York. The Yankees have a 4-1 lead on the Anaheim Angels. Angels won last night 7-3 to hold their 2.5-game lead over the Texas Rangers in the American League West. And here is Omar Olivares getting a first pitch strike to Scott Brosius. Brosius struck out his last at bat, but on the pitch the ball got away from catcher Matt Walbeck, rolled back to the screen, and Scott made first base. He then would steal second but was left stranded. New York scoring 2 runs in the first inning on 2 out base hits by Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez. That slug to right field. Garrett Anderson charges on to make the catch. And Brosius lines out.
Anderson's made quite an adjustment. After playing years in left field, moving over to right field. He's played a pretty good solid right field for the Angels in the absence of Tim Salmon.
And it's interesting because Terry Collins went to both Darren Erstad and Garrett Anderson and asked them, what do you guys want to play? And Darren said, well, I played left field coming up in the minor leagues. And Garrett said, actually, I was the right fielder. So he felt more comfortable in right field as well. But I believe when Mr. Salmon comes back and is completely healthy next year, GA won't mind left again. Olivares now dealing with Chuck Knobloch, who has singled and scored a run and popped to center field. Check swing, liner towards the right field seats. We were thinking the other day about Knobloch and why his numbers are down. He's hitting the 250s this year after a career average at Minnesota at 307, and you wonder if it's because he's a pretty good turf hitter. He does have a tendency to chop down the ball. That AstroTurf, it really can scoot through.
And with that good speed that he has, infielders can't play back on him. So they have to play him up a little bit, and those ground balls scoot past. But it just hasn't happened for him yet here in New York. However, it's all overshadowed by the fact that the Yankees are having such a great season. So you push that aside when you figure that they're on their run and they won't settle for anything less than a world championship.
And they really figured at the beginning of the season he was the last piece to their puzzle. Fouled back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But here's a kid who was born to play baseball. 96 hit .341 with Minnesota, 291 last year, 256 this year with the Yankees, although the power is up. Maybe he is still pressing inside. He's not the guy in New York. 3-2. Derek Jeter waiting. And that's busted towards center field. A base hit. Knobloch is 2 for 3. When you're constantly going 3 and 2, Jerry, that hitter knows you're going to be aggressive. You do not want to start an inning with a speedy walk.
Knobloch fights off this pitch on the inside part of the plate, hits the ball right around the trademark, loops it in short center field, and it falls in front of Edmonds behind DiSarcina. And Knobloch, who has 24 stolen bases for the season, is a threat to steal in a situation like this. Yankees lead by 3. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jeter, who makes pretty good contact, is at the plate. Let's see what happens with the Yankees. They're going to have a running play of some kind.
New York by 3 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Knobloch leading from first base, and a throw by Omar Olivares. He's thrown a ton of pitches, almost 90 pitches in this ball game, still just in the 4th inning. So what we talked about yesterday and also a little bit today is exactly what is going on with the New York batters today. Working that starting pitching, getting them out of there earlier, because I don't see Olivares going deep into this ball game unless he settles down right now and gets some early count outs.
If you're a pitcher, starting pitcher against this New York ball club, you start throwing strikes with the first pitch, you have to be aggressive. And that's going to force them to swing, because as good as they are, they're not going to be as good of a hitting ball club if they're hitting from behind in the count.
Well, Olivares gets a rare strike 1 on his first pitch. It's right back. Jeter fouls it up. Now he has strike 2.
Jeter tried to hit behind that ball and slap it into right field, but he fouls it off, and he's in a hole.
Derek grounded back to the mound his first time up, singled and scored in the home run by Paul O'Neill, his last at bat. Erstad holding Knobloch. Chuck way down in steals this year. 58 last season, 24 this. 1 and 2. To left field, base hit. Knobloch goes to second base, and Olivares just making too good of a pitch with the count his way at 1 and 2.
Olivares, we'll repeat again, his best pitch is a sinker, but when he gets that ball up above the knees, it doesn't have that kind of power sink and make him successful. With a count 1 and 2, he gets a pitch up. Jeter keeps his bat back and drives this ball hard into left field for a base hit. And Terry Collins has seen enough. Olivares is gone. The Angels trail by 3 with Alan Watson coming on.
Omar Olivares' evening lasts 3 1/3 innings. First guy to greet him, Chuck Finley, veteran, the leader on the staff. Chuck continues that conversation with Omar.
It's kind of like having an extra coach, isn't it? An older brother who's been around for a long time. We've seen it already a number of times in this series. Players come off the field, come to the bench, they talk to Finn. We saw Jack McDowell do it last night, and we're seeing Olivares doing it right now. 88 pitches on the evening for Omar. He struggled. His sinker really wasn't effective tonight. Got a lot of pitches up in the strike zone, and the Yankees banged out 9 hits. They put 4 on the board, but they threatened this inning with Knobloch on second and Jeter on first. Alan Watson takes over. It's been 5 days since Watson has performed. He appeared at home against Detroit. Overall, Watson 5 and 7. He's appeared in 19 games, 5 as a reliever. Watson a bit unhappy with the demotion, as he feels, to the bullpen. He's out of the starting rotation where he really feels he's most effective, but it's been a game of numbers. Terry Collins looking for the best 5 that he can put out there on an evening. And when Watson went on a disabled list, he lost his spot in that rotation when Sparks came along, and he's pitched excellent baseball. So Watson coming on in this ball game, pitching in relief, as the Angels trail by 3, and it's up to him to stop the bleeding. The first man he's going to face will be Paul O'Neill.
And Allen might have a bit of the nerves going here because he has a lot of family and friends at the ballpark. He is from New York, and on the first, before he makes his first pitch, he balks. So Knobloch will go to third base. Jeter goes to second, and Terry Collins says, oh my. Watson, though, went to Christ the King High School in New York. Where is the ball?
There it was right there. He turned his body. Home plate umpire Jim Joyce says, can't do that.
If he takes his foot off the rubber.
He's got to do it first.
Yes. And now O'Neill takes ball 1. Infield is in.
That's what I was going to say. It forces the infield now to play up.
Velarde's a little bit back, but let's see if he creeps in before the pitch. Randy stays put. Good pitch by Allen. 1 ball, 1 strike, and this is a strikeout situation, so we may see that changeup. Third base, Chuck Knobloch. Second base, Derek Jeter. Outstanding speed both. O'Neill hit a home run in his last at bat. And he smacks that one up the middle. Off DeSarcina to the third baseman, and they've got at least one man. Knobloch didn't read it. So they'll come up with an out here in a weird situation. When the ball struck off DeSarcina's glove, Knobloch didn't go. But Jeter won from second to third base. And Joe's gone, I can't believe what just happened.
How did we not get a run on that is what Joe's wondering. Knobloch froze when he saw that ball hit DeSarcina's glove, then couldn't move. The runner at second, Jeter, he knows that this ball, once it gets past DeSarcina, he's off to the races because there's a possibility he could score. From the pitch, you see what happens. Picked up by Velarde, and look at this. This is a heads-up play. He realizes there are 2 Yankees where there's only supposed to be 1. Takes a quick look over his shoulder, and he holds the runner O'Neill at first base. Then he first tags Jeter, which is the proper way to do it, and then tries to push Knobloch off the base just in case he's fallen asleep, and he might even get a double play.
Good call, Jer. But he did read it beautifully. Instead of making the throw, just run him down. Run him back to the same bag. Runners in the corners, Bernie Williams, and there's a strike 1 foul off. Williams has singled twice in this game. Now he has that average up near the 350 mark again at 348. He leads the American League in hitting, and there haven't been too many New York batting champions. Of all the Hall of Famers, and they have 38, they have only 8 men who have led the American League in batting. Babe Ruth was the first to do it back in 1924 when he hit 378. There's Joe DiMaggio. Joe did it twice in 39 and 40, led the American League in hitting. 1941, I believe that Boston Red Sox won it. Hit 406, Mr. Williams. But it's been Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Sternweiss, Mickey Mantle did it in 56, Mattingly in 84, and Paul O'Neill did it in 94. So Williams could join that great group. Fastball comes way inside, almost hit Bernie in the knee.
Watson doubles up on fastballs, misses with both of them. And with a count 2-1, we're looking for that changeup. That's Watson's best pitch. Usually that changeup of Watson induces a fly ball, and with 2 men out, things are in Watson's favor. See what he decides to do here. Bernie Williams, league's leading hitter at the plate. Key situation in a ball game.
Changeup on 2-1. Good pitch.
Not only a changeup, an excellent speed, but an outstanding location with good movement toward the outside. Williams might have been looking for just a little bit more on that pitch. Watson delivered less.
Knobloch third base. O'Neill first base. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Watson comes walking off the mound, and that's strike 3. Williams is done, and New York does not score as they had runners on second and third and just one out. The Angels will return to Anaheim next week for a big weekend series against the Kansas City Royals. Friday, September 4th, it's the Angels and Royals at 7:05, plus the Big Bang fireworks show after the game. Saturday on the 5th, game time is 7:05 again, and all kids 12 and under will receive an Angels backpack courtesy of AMC Theaters. And the series with Kansas City concludes on Sunday, September 6th at 5:05. Call 714-663-9000 for your tickets right now. For the Angels trying to come back in this ball game down by 3. Alan Watson in the foreground. He just snuffed out a New York rally.
That's quite a pick-me-up, wasn't it? Watson comes on, keeps the ball in the infield with O'Neill at the plate, and the infield pull in, and then scores a key strikeout against Bernie Williams. Double up on changeups, but he reached back for something less. And he got the strikeout and the Angels out of a jam.
Now Irabu to face Orlando Palmeiro, Randy Velarde, and Darren Erstad in the 5th inning. Palmeiro, first time up, worked the count well, worked it to 3-2, and then lined one right on the screws, but Derek Jeter just made a marvelous diving play to catch his line drive. Jim Edmonds replacing his shoes, and maybe his shoes. In there, 2-1. He found just the outside corner, the edge of the outside corner to even the count 2-2.
That pitch had a lot of bite when it got toward home plate. A little bit of diving action. Couple that with the fact it was better than 90 miles an hour. It's an unhittable combination.
And Orlando comes right back to bust it up the middle for a base hit. That's a start for the Angels in this 5th inning. Palmeiro is on for the first time.
Palmeiro takes Irabu deep into the count, as a good leadoff hitter should. And eventually was able to get a pitch that he could handle, slaps it on the ground. Jeter couldn't catch up with it, and the Angels have their leadoff hitter on to begin things in the 5th.
And Randy Velarde coming to the plate. He has hurt the Yankees in the past. 96, hit well against the New Yorkers. Missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery in that right elbow. Came up with 3 hits and 4 at-bats last night, and takes ball 1. The Detroit Tigers have taken a 3-1 lead on the Texas Rangers in the 3rd inning. That was Brian Powell going against Todd Stottlemyre. Angels, of course, with a 2.5-game lead, and the Rangers for first in the West. Fastball comes in, 2-0. Do you know what Irabu's nickname in Japan was?
Nope.
Kuragi, which is jellyfish. How about that nickname? And it isn't because of his girth. The size of the man. Velarde takes it. It's because his fastball is so good, it stung the hands of the batters when he would come inside, like a jellyfish would sting you when you're swimming in the Pacific Ocean. Body surfing with Jason.
I guess that's some of that Pacific Rim humor, huh?
There you go.
Or loses something in the translation.
But he lost the nickname when he came to the States. He didn't want to be called jellyfish.
No, it doesn't have quite the same meaning as what it did over there.
Kuragi. It sounds tough, doesn't it? Irabu's favorite movie, Mitch Reinhardt says, is Tori, Tori, Tori. Ground ball 3rd. Brocious goes second. 1 on to first. Nicely done.
Call him any nickname you want, but you have to call this a double play around the horn. Perfect hop to Brocious. The throw down just a little bit, but Knobloch has a lot of time to make the adjustment. Get his hand up in the air to make this throw over to first. Look at that slide by Palmeiro. You can bet that Knobloch heard the footsteps on that one.
So 2 outs and nobody on. Darren Erstad comes to the plate, was 0 for 2 in the game. He was popped up twice, once to left and once to the catcher. In there, strike 1. Darren came off the disabled list with 5 hits in his first 2 games, but has been rather quiet since. And he smacks that one, a line drive that is speared by Derek Jeter. So the Angels hit it hard in the 5th, but they just have a hit to show for it. The New York Yankees with a 4-1 lead over the Anaheim Angels, and Steve Physiak along with Jerry Royce. And Jerry, the way Hideki Irabu has been working around jams, he's making it a tough time for the Angels in this game.
Oh, the last 2 innings, how about that? 2 walks and an error. He's able to work through that jam, and then just as it seemed that the Angels were going to recover, Palmeiro with a single, he's able to induce a double play and then a line drive off the bat of Erstad. So you got to give Irabu some credit because he's pitched out of a couple of tough jams and he's got himself a 3-run lead.
Alan Watson got out of a tough jam, and I believe if the Angels can hold off their offense, they've got a chance to come back on Hideki.
That was a big play as far as the Angels were concerned, because for Watson coming in from the bullpen, his job is to hold things right there, and that's exactly what he did. Now, we've talked about Watson before and his desire to be a starting pitcher, but coming out of the bullpen, the 5 times that he has so far this year, he's been simply outstanding.
Well, Derek Jeter went right in and talked with Don Zimmer, his bench coach, and Joe Torre, the manager, as we will start the bottom of the 5th inning with New York up by 3, and Tino Martinez coming to the plate. Tino Martinez, Darryl Strawberry, and Jorge Posada. And Watson goes upstairs with the fastball. Tino, a pair of doubles, both of those against Omar Olivares. 2 balls and no strikes. And Jerry, could part of Allen's problem as a starting pitcher be that usually one time through the order the offense will settle in and get a little more comfortable against him?
At least what we've seen so far, that seems to indicate that, but he's had the 1 bad inning situation ever since he's joined this ball club a year ago. I recall a game against Kansas City where he was outstanding for 5 innings, giving up 2, maybe 3 hits, and had a scoreless ball game. But the first 4 batters that he faced in the 6th got on base, and there were 2 home runs that drove all of them in. So he can lose it in a hurry. For a guy like Watson to come out of the bullpen, he throws strikes, he mixes his pitches well. And if you couple him with a guy like Olivares that we've seen tonight, you've got a guy from the right side that throws a sinker and a left-hander that throws a changeup. 2 different looks for this Yankee ball club.
Good pitch by Allen, and he strikes out Tino Martinez to start the bottom of the 5th inning.
Watson takes a little bit off his fastball. I don't think this is quite a changeup, but look at the movement on this pitch as it drops down. A little bit of a tail into Martinez. He's swinging like he's going after a fastball. You see that front knee buckle. Wahlbeck keeps the ball in front of him, applies the tag, and we've got 1 man out.
Now Darryl Strawberry taking inside. And Jerry, when you take a look at what the Angels have to do to win the West, well, obviously get Ken Hill back and have him be successful when he comes back this Friday against the Boston Red Sox. Then Jack McDowell must stay healthy. His leadership, the way he has pitched the last 2 ball games, has been brilliant. We'd like to see the Angels go 5-5 on this trip. They need to improve their clutch hitting, and they also need to get their left-handed relief in order. They have Trevor Wilson and Alan Watson there. Mike Holtz probably will be coming up when they expand the rosters in September, but somebody from the left side has to be able to get the left-handers out in baseball.
I think the first thing, the most important thing, is getting everybody in this ball club healthy. We're trying to get the guys that you've been counting on all year in playing shape enough so that down that stretch run, they contribute. And it appears that everything is headed in that direction. Now, you got to give Bill Bavasi some credit. I know he's got a lot of criticism back in Southern California for not pulling the trigger on a deal before the trading deadline. But consider this fact. Stottlemyre's going tonight for Texas. He's won 3 games since joining that ball club. But you have to ask yourselves, what have the Angels done then since the trading deadline? Well, they've gotten Juden on waivers. They've gotten Mike Fetters on waivers. Both have contributed.
But in the West, well, obviously get Ken Hill back and have him be successful when he comes back this Friday against the Boston Red Sox. Then Jack McDowell must stay healthy. His leadership, the way he has pitched the last 2 ball games, has been brilliant. We'd like to see the Angels go 5-5 on this trip. They need to improve their clutch hitting, and they also need to get their left-handed relief in order. They have Trevor Wilson and Alan Watson there. Mike Holtz probably will be coming up when they expand the rosters in September, but somebody from the left side has to be able to get the left-handers out in baseball.
I think the most important thing is getting everybody in this ball club healthy. We're trying to get the guys that you've been counting on all year in playing shape enough so that down that stretch run they can contribute. And it appears that everything is headed in that direction. Now, you got to give Bill Bavasi some credit. I know he's got a lot of criticism back in Southern California for not pulling the trigger on a deal before the trading deadline. But consider this fact. Stottlemyre's going tonight for Texas. He's won 3 games since joining that ball club. But you have to ask yourselves, what have the Angels done then since the trading deadline? Well, they've gotten Juden on waivers. They've gotten Mike Fetters on waivers. Both have contributed, but I don't think as much as the contribution that we can see from a healthy McDowell and a healthy Ken Hill. Those 2 guys come back. They're going to more than make up for the contributions that you're going to see that the guys that Texas picked up will make to that ball club.
Randy Velarde, Ty Green now healthy. Troy Gloss was called up July 31st, so there has been a change. And Strawberry going for the downs, swings and misses, striking out. And Watson has now struck out 3 straight, and all 3 of them have been swinging from that left side, except for Bernie Williams.
See Wahlbeck setting up outside, but Watson, though, goes across the inside corner. Gets it up just a little bit, right above the swing of Darryl Strawberry, and he punches out for the 3rd time this evening.
So Watson has it going to start this bottom of the 5th inning. Struck out Tino Martinez, just struck out Darryl Strawberry. Now Jorge Posada. We told you how strong he is, much stronger he is, batting right-handed than he does from the left side. Still just 4 hits in his last 28 at-bats. Good fastball. A little sink to it. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's got pretty good stuff coming out of the bullpen. He warmed up last night as if he were ready to come into the ball game. And I guess the question was probably answered, at least in the mind of Alan Watson. Can he pitch on consecutive days? Well, the results are right here in front of us. He's punched out 3 of the 4 batters he's faced. He has a good fastball, and his location is everything it ought to be.
Came with the fastball. It is lying down the right side. Past Darren Erstad. Posada will have the double and will slow up there with 2 outs.
Posada likes what he sees from Alan Watson, and he's done that same thing in his 5 at-bats against Allen. 4 for 5 lifetime, including this double to right center, right field, right down the line, past a diving Erstad into the corner. Anderson's going to pick it up, but Posada's going to go on to second with a 2-out double.
So Watson has to get out of a jam again. Got out of a runners on second and third, 1-out jam in the 5th inning. In the 4th inning, excuse me, here in the 5th. Man's at second. Chad Curtis is the batter. He takes ball 1. Watson starts him off with that changeup. He started the night with Omar Olivares against Hideki Arabu. Arabu's still in with a 4-1 lead, but Olivares was knocked out after 3 1/3 innings. There's another good changeup. Now Curtis has seen 2 pitches about 80 miles an hour, maybe 78. Now he can hump up at 88, make it look like it's 95.
Come inside with that fastball right around belled high. If he gets a strike, then he's got all kinds of options on that outside corner. Change up again, maybe a breaking ball, just a different look. But this is the swing pitch. This is the key pitch in the sequence. Oh. He humps up for a fastball and misses the zone, and he falls behind 2-1. I'm guessing changeup right here. You don't want to double up with a fastball.
I'm sorry, it's hard to catch the ball. The sun's not in his eyes anymore. Look at that hat in front of him, though. Down in front. Strike, 2-2.
Watson comes back with that changeup to even the count. Curtis looking for something just a little bit more. Is a bit disgusted with himself.
Posada double with 2 outs. Three balls and 2 strikes. I thought he was going to back off and go changeup again, because Curtis is a dead-on fastball hitting fool, and you have Alan Watson, who has that great changeup.
I wasn't aware that you and him were that close.
Okay, fastball hitting young man. Curtis calls timeout. Walbeck says, let's go again. Selection, location. Changeup.
He cut that a little bit. Just a different look. Gets off to the side of it. Goes at the same velocity. Curtis checks this swing. He'll do it again.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Posada with 2 outs. Double down the right field line. Watson struck out the first 2 Yankees that he faced, Tino Martinez and Darryl Strawberry. He went around. Walbeck picks the baseball up, tosses to first base. It's in time. The inning is over, and the Angels need some offense. Watson is doing a good job out of the bullpen. It's 4-1 New York.
Yep. He's going to get the kind of results that we've seen so far in the 5 batters he's faced. 6 batters he's chased. He struck out 4 of them. And he's closed the door on the Yankees. And he's going to give this offense a chance to put something together.
So Arabu goes to his 6th inning. He will face Tim Salmon, Garrett Anderson, and Jim Edmonds. A great chance for the Angels to get some good things started. Salmon lined out sharply to the center fielder. Bernie Williams is last at bat, and Arabu starts him upstairs. Ball 1. Ground ball, second base. Knobloch right there. Salmon is the first out of the 6th inning. Detroit has improved their lead over Texas to 5-1 now in the 4th inning. That will help the Angels' cause as they start off on this very important 10-game road trip that takes them to New York for 5, 3 in Boston, and then with the Cleveland Indians for 2. All 3 are leading either the wild card or their divisions. New York in the East, Boston the wild card, Cleveland in the Central. And he hit Garrett Anderson right on the thigh.
Arabu trying to get this fastball on the inside part of the plate. Ouch. Doesn't want to hit Anderson, but protocol, if I remember correctly, in Japan is that there's usually an apology that's issued when a pitcher nips a hitter in a situation like this. But in America, you don't do that. You move things on. Take your base and let's get on with it.
Simasen. That's sorry in Japanese. So Simasen from Kuragi. which is jellyfish. Japanese, which was his nickname. And tomorrow I'll take you to lunch where we'll have sushi. So the Angels need one more base runner to bring the tying run to the plate, and Edmonds fouls it back. There they go. That's us, Jerry. A couple of Karagis. With the head Karagi, our president, Hideki Irabu. And yes, we love our producer, Chuck McKean, who always seems to put our names up at the right time. There's Jim Edmonds fouling it off. That goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know what was very interesting about the Angels after their victory last night, an impressive win, 7-3, coming back from a 2-0 deficit against the best team in baseball. Their clubhouse was a little different. And in 1995, Gary DiSarcina said, much different. I mean, they were so up and down with the success of the team or the failures of the ball club, but they are so professional now. It's like no big deal. That's just one more that we need.
Yeah, but there's a different kind of confidence on this club as opposed to what was there in 75.
Or 95.
95. Or 75 for that matter.
That was with you. It's always about you, Jerry. Fastball stays up.
It's a quiet confidence. It starts with Chuck Finley. Salmon carries it with him. So you can see that the lead guys in that clubhouse, they know what winning's all about. You put together a streak, you try to maintain things the way they are right now because you know that this is an important road trip. And when you come out here tomorrow, those fortunes can change.
Edmonds lines it to right field, a base hit. Anderson turns second, will go to third, and Jim will stop at first base. So Anaheim has runners on the corners with just 1 out, and the tying run coming to the plate in Troy Gloss.
Edmonds fouled off a couple of high fastballs, couldn't quite get around on them. You look at this pitch, looked like a hanging breaking ball, just spun up there. And what that does in essence is speeds up the bat of Jim Edmonds. Notice how he's able to get out in front in this ball and drill it into right field. That gives Anderson a chance to advance from first to third, and for the 3rd consecutive inning, the Angels have something going.
And that something going is the rookie Troy Gloss. Troy has walked and reached on an error. Takes upstairs, ball 1. Jerry talked about that big threat in the 4th inning when the Angels loaded the bases. Jerry talked about that big threat in the 4th inning when the Angels loaded the bases. Matt Walbeck came up and struck out. Gary DiSarcina grounded back to the mound to end the threat. Ross takes a strike, 1-1. Troy, one of the great power hitters, not only in the Pac-10 conference, but in the NCAA the last 3 seasons. And he takes upstairs again, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Let's take a look from high home exactly how Gloss sets up the plate. You see it's open as he faces the pitcher so that he's able to maximize the ball as it comes in, but then he closes things up as he takes his step as the ball comes toward home plate.
Isn't that a little like Andres Galarraga of the Atlanta Braves? Where he
but he's more pronounced, way open, and then he dives out over the plate. Consequently, he's going to get a hit lot because of that. But Klaus, what happens sometimes, you close yourself too much and you can't get the bat head around on that inside pitch. And it's just another adjustment that he's going to have to make as his career progresses.
The 2-2 pitch. Troy swings and busts it towards right field. That will drop. In comes Anderson. Edmonds goes to third. It is a long single for Troy Gloss, and he cuts the lead in half to 4-2.
Phones are ringing down in the Yankees bullpen, and with good cause. The Angels with a hit batsman, a single by Edmonds, and this base hit off the bat of Gloss produces a run, the second in the evening for Anaheim. See that Bernie Williams has to come over and try to cut that ball off. Gloss with not a great deal of speed, holds right where he is at first, but that allows Edmonds to advance all the way to third.
So Stottlemyre will come out not only to talk to Hideki Irabu, but also allow the bullpen to start getting busy. And Mike Stanton, who's really been humbled lately. I mean, Texas tore him up over the weekend, and they have been hurt in their bullpen of late with the injury to Jeff Nelson, also to Darren Holmes, and now the lack of success by Mike Stanton.
I just wonder how reluctant both managers are with going to that bullpen early. Doubleheader tomorrow, a split doubleheader, a game at 10 o'clock California time tomorrow and 4:30. And both managers well aware that in a doubleheader with these two kinds of ball clubs, you can go through your pitchers rather fast, so you want to try to get as many innings as you can out of the guys that are currently on the mound.
Now Walbeck in a similar situation that he found himself in the fourth inning. A man at third base, less than 2 outs. It's Edmonds at third, Gloss at first. Walbeck swings and rips it up the middle, base hit. In comes Edmonds. There goes Gloss to third base, and the Angels will have the tying run at third with just 1 out.
First pitch swinging, Walbeck hits this ball right on the money. Fastball up, out over the plate. Knobloch just misses snaring this ball and probably could have turned it to an inning double play. But it gets past him. One comes in the person of Edmonds. That allows Gloss, who was on first, a chance to advance all the way around to third. So the Angels, with a hit batsman, 3 singles, have put a couple on the board.
Now Gary DiSarcina. And Gary takes low and outside, ball 1. Did you see the top spin that Walbeck got on the ball? When it hit the turf, it just shot past Chuck. So DiSarcina 1 for 2 in the game with a double. A double could give the Angels the lead. They have fought back from a 4-1 deficit. They've got Gloss the tying run at third base. DiSarcina pops it up right side. Tino Martinez for a look, but it will be out of play. And the Angels had sent the base runner, Matt Walbeck. So they had the hit and run on. Fans were a little confused. DiSarcina has been the Angels' very best against New York this year. 28 times up, 14 hits, 500 batting average. 4 for 6 in this series. He swings and takes a shot at right field. It's out of play. Now it's 1-2. Salmon grounded out to start the inning. Garrett Anderson was hit on the thigh with a pitch. Edmonds singled to right field. Gloss singled to right field to make it 4-2. And Walbeck just singled up the middle to make it a 4-3 ball game. Irabu's 1-2 pitch. And again, Gary just does get rid of the pitch that was too hot to handle.
I didn't think he'd come in with a fastball in that pitch. I was expecting a splitter, yeah. That's his strikeout pitch. Something else to note, we talked about that slow curveball that Irabu's added to his pitching repertoire. But we haven't seen it since the first inning. It's primarily been fastball, which has been a good one, and his split finger.
And he went after the split finger, strikes out. A big strikeout for Hideki with the tying run at third base. Now there's 2 outs, and the Angels have to come up with a base hit to tie the game.
Once again, the split finger in the location. Looks like a fastball coming in. DiSarcina just trying to protect the plate, but this ball falls out of the strike zone. It also falls out of DiSarcina's hitting zone, and a key strikeout for Irabu as the Angels are rallying in the 6th inning.
So Orlando Palmeiro will dig in. He's hit the ball sharply tonight, lining out to Derek Jeter in a great play to start the game. sacrificing in the third and lining a single back up the middle his last at bat. Strike one. Orlando still looking for his first major league home run. It's 314 down the right field line, 318 down the left line. In the old days, it was a little easier for the hitters. And that right field line when it was 296, low 1-1. Rabu has allowed 16 home runs in his last 11 starts. He has not given one to the Angels tonight. Outside corner, 1-2.
Took something off the fastball, and this ball also broke away from Palmeiro.
So the crowd of better than 40,000 picking it up at Yankee Stadium. 1-2 strikes. Angels down by a run. Palmeiro swings and hits it to Tino Martinez. He'll pick it up, step on first base, ending the inning. But Anaheim scores 2 to make it a 4-3 ball game with New York. They led 4-1, but the Angels with 2 runs in the top of the 6th inning. Now in the bottom of number 6. It's Alan Watson's job to hold it right here. He will face Scott Brosius, Chuck Knobloch, and Derek Jeter. Strike one with the curveball. Brosius 0 for 2 in the game is struck out and lined sharply to right field. Broke his bat, popped him up. Tough play, and Palmeiro will not get there. Let's check out the Detroit score as the Tigers leading the Rangers in the 4th inning 5-1. Boston over Oakland 3-2 in the 8th inning. Cleveland smothering Seattle. It's Chicago blanking Baltimore 2-0 in the 5th. Toronto has a 3-0 finish on Kansas City, and Minnesota beat Tampa Bay 4-1, or is leading 4-1 in the 9th inning. Roger Clemens won his 16th. He's got back-to-back shutouts. He's moving into that Cy Young race. We're talking about David Wells, David Cone, Pedro Martinez. The Rockets right in there with him.
Kind of leads the pack in a number of areas, doesn't he? He's up there with earned run average, victories, and he's doing it in strikeouts, and he's doing it with a ball club that's right around 500.
Well, he won the Triple Crown last year, the first time that has been done, and since 1945 when Hal Newhouser did it. We've seen it in the National League a lot more often with Steve Carlton.
Lately, Greg Maddux winning Cy Young awards.
Yeah, I was thinking Triple Crown.
Okay.
Clemens is second in earned run average, but he might be first after tonight with the shutout. He's tied for 3rd in wins, and he is 3rd in strikeouts behind Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez. But really, down to the end, it's going to be a 2-man battle between Martinez and Clemens with the trade of Johnson to Houston in the National League. Two balls and no strikes to Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch now 30 years old, turned 30 July 7th. Born in Houston, Texas, went to Texas A&M where he was the Minnesota Twins' first-round draft choice. Played shortstop at A&M, made second base, Minnesota. 3 balls and no strikes now to Knobloch. But his father, a very successful high school baseball coach, little league baseball coach in that Houston area, won 4 state championships. On the inside corner, 3-1. Well, he does the gloves, make sure they're tight. Not nearly as severe as Nomar Garcia Parra's process that he goes through before he steps in. And he smacks that to third, glosses up with it. Second base one, first base nicely done, and a beautiful turn by Randy Velarde.
No time to spare on his ground ball to Gloss. He has to get rid of that ball in a hurry. You saw that head go out of there, so it took just a little bit extra time. And there's Randy Velarde, says, please get that ball over to me, because he sees the footsteps approaches right upon him. He has to leap to get out of the way, but before he does that, he uncorks a strong throw to Erstad to complete the back end of that double play. Seems like an eternity when you're waiting for that ball from the shortstop or the third baseman, and you know that the guy who's running is an aggressive base runner, and you know you're going to take some punishment.
And he did, but boy, he hung in there beautifully and got a lot on the throw. Here's Derek Jeter now, and he takes up and in from Alan Watson. Jeter is 2 for 3 in this game. Singled and scored on the Paul O'Neill home run in the third, and singled and was left stranded by Alan Watson. And Watson came on with runners on second and third after his balk. He got O'Neill on a ground out, and he struck out Bernie Williams to end the threat. Watson has now pitched 12 relief innings this year, and he's allowed 1 earned run. You think he could be important if the Angels do make the playoffs?
If they do, somebody's got to come out of the starting rotation, and somebody's got to pitch in the bullpen. And I'll tell you why. I think Watson's going to be important for this pitching staff. One, they need a left-hander in the bullpen that they can depend on. You've already talked about how Watson has pitched in relief this year with 1 earned run in those 12 innings. Right away, that's something that'll open your eyes. And number 2, you've got a guy who could start if he has to, you know, in a playoff situation, or if one of the starters gets knocked out, you got a guy who can give you some innings to bridge the gap in the event that you come back and win and take things to Percival to close out. And also from a personal standpoint with Watson, though he wants to be a starting pitcher, pitching in relief right now might be just something that allows him to stay around just a little bit longer on the final years of his career. He could probably pitch an extra 2, 3, maybe 4 years, because now he has the experience of both a starter and a reliever. So he becomes an invaluable guy to this pitching staff.
And you face, let's say the Angels face the New York Yankees in the first round, and he comes out of the bullpen to relieve a right-hander, and let's say he has to face O'Neill, Tino Martinez, Darryl Strawberry. Well, that's his job. Get those guys out. Those are the tough New York lefty hitters. Fouled it off again. Boy, Jeter has just had some incredible at-bats as far as fouling pitches off that he doesn't want. Last time he was up there, fouled off 3 after Watson had worked the count to 3-2. Or rather, excuse me, it was Olivares. And then still got the base hit. Good player. Look at that. He just stayed with that one, and it's lined to left field for a base hit. Three singles tonight for Derek Jeter. The great young players in baseball. Just 24 years of age. Good arm, good bat, good looking. Got the young ones, you got the grandmas out there. They all love Jeter. Here's Paul O'Neill. His 2-run home run gave New York a 4-1 lead in the 3rd inning. But the Yankees have not scored since. That's very good speed at first base, and Derek Jeter, who's stolen 24 bases this year. O'Neill had called time. Ooh, and somebody in the Angels dugout yelled something. Jim Joyce has a short fuse. And has he thrown Terry Collins out of the game? And Terry might be saying it wasn't me. Jim hasn't given him the heave-ho yet. Terry will go sit down. But he's still in the game. I do not think Terry liked the late call of Paul O'Neill, but I'm not sure if it was Terry that yelled anything out.
But you know, Terry will take the heat for it because he knows he's got a limited number of players on that bench. The fact that they're carrying 12 pitchers leaves a rather shallow bench. So you don't want to take the risk of one of your players getting tossed for saying
something. How about
something.
this? They let the pitch go. It's 2-0. I thought O'Neill had called timeout. He didn't call it in time. Had it gone across the plate, it would have been a strike. And he was just questioning why that call was made. Now, Watson is a very good pickoff, but we haven't seen it yet. That's just his little calling card to Derek Jeter saying, I know you're over there. But he has a snap toss that has caught a lot of would-be base stealers, not only this year, but years past. There's 3 pickoffs this year, 9 last year, second in the American League to the Yankees, Andy Pettitte. Ooh, good pitch by Watson. And O'Neill with the rip. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Meantime, in Arlington, Texas, Detroit has scored 2 more. They now have a 7-1 lead on the Texas Rangers. If the Angels can come from behind and beat the Yankees, Terry Collins' club would have a 3.5 game lead in the West if the Rangers lose. That would equal the Angels' biggest lead of the year. They had that 3.5 game lead in early August. Great pitch by Watson, and he strikes out O'Neill, and Paul Furious slams the bat down. Oh, the anger of the great ones. And here's Paul O'Neill with a swing and a miss on the changeup, and then a swing, and he makes contact on the throw. 4:30. The scheduled pitching matchup is Chuck Finley against David Cone. What a great show. So tune in Thursday at 4:30 for the Angels and the Yankees. When the Angels are on the road, make KCAL 9 your home for Anaheim Angels baseball. Only on KCAL 9 Sports, the home of the Angels, Lakers, Clippers, Kings, and Ducks. Truly LA sports leader. Here's Randy Velarde to start inning number 7. Angels down by 1. David Cone will go Thursday against Chuck Finley. And there's Chuck, who was talking to Alan Watson between innings. And Jerry, you've talked about that a lot in the past, that you can get so much from your pitching coach, and Marcel Latchman is a great one, but when your peer is a leader like a Jack McDowell or Chuck Finley, that's so much the better.
And it allows you to cut through the positions. You see, you got a pitching coach talking to a pitcher, and sometimes the message can't be gotten across as well as if you talk to another pitcher, because another pitcher will look in the eye and say you stink if you stink, and he just sets you back because, oh, okay. But I think what Finley was doing, if I can read him well, is that Watson comes in with a head of steam, and Finley's thinking, wait a minute, he's pitching pretty well with his head of steam. What can I do to maintain this? So he's agitating him, digging into his ribs a little bit so he can keep him up for this ball game. There's still a lot of game left. We're in the 7th inning of a 1-run ball game.
And the tying run is on. The leadoff man, Randy Velarde, here in the 7th inning. So Irabu has now walked 5 in this game. And with Darren Erstad coming to the plate, Joe Torre says he has seen enough. You've got the lefty Erstad coming up, then the righty swinging Tim Salmon. And Hideki Irabu has thrown over 100 pitches in the game right now at 113. Will be removed in the top of the 7th inning with Randy Velarde at first base. Joe gives Hideki a pat on the back. It's the Angels down by 1.
Overall, 51st game, he's got a perfect record, 4-0, and he's asked to come on and protect this one-run margin enjoyed by New York in his second game of a 5-game set.
Mike, a strong guy, 6'1", 215 pounds, born in Houston, Texas. He is 31 years of age. He has been around the big leagues, starting his career with the Atlanta Braves, pitched there from 1989 through 1995, where he was then traded to Boston and was with the Red Sox, then the Rangers, now the Yankees. He had a brilliant year last year in 97, going 6-1 with a 2.57 earned run average, but has struggled of late. Gave up back-to-back home runs to Juan Gonzalez and also a lefty by the name of Will Clark. He will face a lefty to start things in Darren Erstad, and then go righty in Tim Salmon. Erstad is 0 for 3 in the game. Fly to left, pop to the catcher, and line to the shortstop. This was the Angels inning last night. The 7th inning. The Angels were down 2-0. And Anaheim scored 5 runs in the top of the 7th inning. It started by Tim Salmon with a double. Garrett Anderson then hit a game-tying home run. Jack McDowell got the win. 2 wins since coming off the disabled list, and 2 important ones against Detroit and against the Yankees. Ball 1. Stanton has always been a sinker-slider guy, but so effective against left-handers in his career. Velarde, first base. He represents the tying run. There's a strike. But even though he has been wrecked, as you said, in his last 7 ball games for 14 hits and 10 runs, Joe Torre said, I still have confidence in him. He's my guy.
And you got to figure that during the course of the season, everybody in your ball club is going to struggle at one time or another. And you still got to have that same kind of confidence in them.
Oh, it gets away. Velarde will go to second base at least. And apparently it was touched by a fan, which means Velarde will only go to second base. Because that is a shame, because the Angels would have had Velarde at third base if the ball just glances off and then goes down the right field line.
Then it would have been interesting to see how New York would have played their infield. Here's the throw. Yep, a little bit too much down the line. Tino can't come up with it. Bounces off that restraining wall for the photographers. But once a fan touches it, that puts the ball dead. Velarde goes to second. He's in scoring position.
So Erstad wants to pull it, and he does. Down the right field line, base hit. In comes Velarde to tie this game at 4. And Erstad goes to second with a double.
After Stan throws the ball away, he throws this curveball. It's a slow curveball towards the outside part of the plate, but Erstad stays with it. Watch how he goes out over the plate to get this ball. Trying to hit it to the right side to advance the runner. It goes between Martinez and the bag. A double for Erstad, but more importantly, it brings Velarde around to score the tying run.
And now Tim Salmon. And Salmon takes a shot at right field with nobody out. He wants to get Erstad at least to third base and quite possibly home. Tim the other day had a situation very interesting against the Toronto Blue Jays. He faced this same situation, Jerry. Nobody out, runner at second base, trying to go to right field. And he went to right field and hit a home run 410 feet away. Takes a fastball at the knees. Now Tim behind the count, 0-2.
Tim was looking for a pitch out over the plate, something he could use to slap that ball into right field. But slapping the ball into right field for Salmon still is a lot different than a lot of guys you see just trying to advance the runner. He slaps it over with extra base power.
Jerry, everything he has moves into a right-hander. His sinker, his slider. Does that make it more difficult to get that ball right side?
There are some guys who swear that the pitch on the inside part of the plate is easier to hit the opposite way,
Pete Rose,
than it is to hit the outside pitch.
Salmon pulls this one foul.
I guess it just depends on the hitter and the hitter what he does in a particular situation. For Tim, with 2 strikes, he has a tendency to strike out a lot, although his numbers are down just a little bit this year. I would imagine with 2 strikes, if he's got something in his zone, regardless of where it is, he's going to go for it. That means it's in. He's going to pull this ball.
Salmon takes outside 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Angels have tied it after being down 4-1 in this game. They were down 2-0 last night and won the game 7-3. Last time we checked, Texas was losing 7-1 to the Detroit Tigers in the 6th inning. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Stanton turned that pitch over, trying to get Salmon to go after a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Misses twice. Now the count's 2-2. You don't want it to go 3-2. So it'll be interesting to see the location of this pitch.
You do have first base open. You've got a power hitter with a couple of lefties to follow in both Edmonds and Anderson. And that ball smacks foul again, so it stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tim never has gotten a hit in his career against Mike Stanton. 0 for 4. Tim has been hot. Came in the .443 average his last 20 games. Tonight he is 0 for 3, striking out, lining out, grounding out to second. Again, he sends it foul. What a catch by the fan upstairs. Took his cap off, reached over. Not the guy with the glove, but the guy with the New York cap. Tried to get that breaking ball in there.
That was one of those pitchers that I tell you about. When you throw it to a hitter, he sees his pitch, he recognizes it early, and he knows that if it follows the proper trajectory, he's going to drive it. Salmon's eyes, yeah, it got big like saucers. He just couldn't get good wood on it. Fouls it at the plate, so count remains at 2.
Tim tries to drop it to right field. Paul O'Neill will drift back, make the catch. Erstad tags. Here he comes. Here's the throw by Paul O'Neill. It is not in time.
That was a gutsy move by Erstad, tagging up on Paul O'Neill, who has a pretty good arm from right field. O'Neill had this play measured perfectly. Watch him get himself in perfect throwing position. Uncorks a pretty strong throw, so it's going to be the ball thrown by O'Neill against the speed of Erstad. The throw just gets away a little bit from Brocious, and that's the difference between safe and out.
Did you see that leap at the end? Last night, 7th inning, Garrett Anderson came to the plate. The Angels were down 2-0, and he hit the ball as well as he can hit it. Better than 435 feet off the top of the Utz sign. Now Garrett comes on, 7th inning, with the Angels tied at 4 again. Last night he brought them back to tie it up at 2. Gary DiSarcina broke the tie in that 7th inning. The Angels scored 5 times in the 7th. And Garrett swings, flips it foul and out of play. Now he's behind the count. 2 strikes. The Yankees with their infield in. So if Garrett can hit it just sharply on the ground somewhere, I mean, his percentages go way up.
As the infield comes in. Garrett looking for a pitch, though, that he can get under and drive to the outfield.
Ooh. He had his hands about halfway from going around, but it's 1 ball and 2 strikes as Stanton was teasing him away.
I bet Stanton comes right back with it. Take a look at the Yankee defense. The infielders in, right on the infield grass. The outfield normal depth and straight up.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Twice he's gone to his slider. First time he threw it in the dirt, hoping to coax a swing out of Anderson. The second one toward the outside part of the plate, though, had a little different tilt to it, didn't it?
Erstad, third base. He represents the go-ahead run. Just does get a piece of it.
Anderson swung at that pitch like he was looking slider. It's a fastball, but he was quick enough to just make enough contact to stay alive. Doesn't have much of a problem against left-handers, does he? Especially that big home run last night. Hit it off Andy Pettit on a hanging curveball.
Big Pen all messed up at third. There's the pitch. Ground ball, base hit left field. Erstad comes home, and the Angels take a 5-4 lead.
Credit the RBI to Garrett Anderson on what a great at-bat he had. Gets 2 strikes, battles the count to 2-2, and then reaches out for a pitch that might have been off the plate away. It was a slider. It's just out of the reach of a diving Jeter. But Erstad, who had tagged up on the play before, was able to advance to third, forced Joe Torre to bring his infield in. And it produces a big run for the Angels as they take the lead for the first time in this ball game.
So Anderson, the hero last night to get the Angels back in the game, now tonight has given them their first lead at 5-4. The Angels at one time in this contest were down 4-1. They have come back to close it to a 1-run game with 2 runs in the 6th inning, now 2 thus far in the 7th. Here's Jim Edmonds. Fastball in there. Well, he's done this to Erstad, getting him 2 strikes on Erstad, 2 strikes on Anderson with no balls. He's done the same thing with Edmonds, and they came through.
Much like the situation last night with Andy Pettit in the 7th inning. 3 consecutive 2-strike counts against Angel hitters. Each of the 3 were able to reach base safely and drive in a run.
He did not go around. It's 1-2. And that was the same situation with Anderson. 0-2. He teased him low and away. Anderson held up. 1-2. Did the same pitch to Jim Edmonds. He held up. Anderson at first base. Anaheim with their first lead of the night, 5-4. Low and away.
He's following the same pattern that he had against Anderson. 2 quick strikes. Tries a breaking ball in the dirt, hoping that the left-handed hitter would go fishing, but no luck on that. Then he comes back on a 1-2 pitch and tries a sweeping kind of slider toward the outside that evens the count.
Didn't miss by much. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and this will be the last man that Stanton faces. The Angels will have nothing but righties coming up in Gloss, then the switch hitting Wallback. They have Mike Buddy up in the bullpen. But that's not like bringing up Jeff Nelson. You send Garrett Anderson with 1 out. He goes. The pitch is swung on, fouled back. And Jim had a pretty good rip.
A good rip at a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
Anderson, pickoff move just in time. He was leaning towards second base when he read the move of Mike Stanton.
If he takes a bit more of an aggressive lead, he's tagged out on this play. He'd already had his momentum going towards second base and barely makes it back to the bag before Martinez applies the tag.
Anderson goes. The pitch is swung on, fouled off left side again. That time was more. I know they want Anderson to go, but it was more like a hit and run because his steal attempt was so delayed. Divide the attention of the pitcher. Garrett had a very modest lead. Angels want to stay out of the double play, get a few more runs, and give Jim Edmonds a fastball to hit. With the runner going, he's not likely to throw that slider.
But I think the situation calls for a slider right here. He's thrown 3 consecutive fastballs. He's got 3 fastballs up.
You're right. You almost have to forget about the base runner and just say, you know what, I've got to make my pitch. Edmonds fouls it back again. Anderson was with a very delayed move.
Notice that each succeeding swing by Jim Edmonds has been just a little bit better. A little bit sharper, a little bit cleaner. So you can tell that he's honing in on the deliveries by Mike Stanton.
Jim Edmonds with 18 home runs this year. He's been in a home run drought. Fouls it back. Still, the average has stayed up right around the 300 mark. He has a lot of extra base hits. A lot of pitchers have been working Jim away, and he's been working that side. Doubles down the line or in the gap, left center field. Jim hoping that Stanton makes a mistake and a pitch that he can really drive. And he drives it to right field, a base hit. Anderson turns second, goes to third. The Angels have runners in the corner still with just 1 out, and that should do it for Mike Stanton.
6 consecutive fastballs on a 3-2 count. You got to figure that sooner or later Edmonds is going to measure one and drill that ball somewhere in play. And that's exactly what happened. He got a fastball up and in. He drills it into right field, and Anderson is able to advance from first to third. That's right in Edmonds' hitting zone, isn't it? Up and in. Anderson off with a pitch. Once he sees this ball goes into right field, he just scoots rather leisurely on over to third base. That closes the door on Mike Stanton, and the New York faithful are expressing their displeasure. So we're going to have a pitching change here in the 7th inning as the Angels have taken the lead. First batter he's going to face coming up is going to be Troy Glass. Those are the numbers overall for Buddy in his games with the Yankees.
But this is normally a time you would find Jeff Nelson or Darren Holmes, but they're not healthy. You see Anderson and Edmonds on the base paths, first and third. Gloss takes one up and in, dusting him.
The fans may like it, but I don't think Buddy did this intentionally. I think he's trying to get that fastball inside. Well, he does exactly that. It's one of those pitches that your whole collegiate and professional career just pass right before your eyes.
You might remember that Brett Saberhagen brushed him back in his very first major league game. He came right back with a double. Now Buddy misses badly on the outside. 2 balls and no strikes. The Angels knocked him around. Here's an area that is rather soft for the Yankees right now until they get Holmes back. They hope to get Nelson back. Still not sure about Jeff. Runner goes, pitch is taken, throw to second base, not in time. Edmonds with a great slide, slid past the bag and still had time to get his left hand back. So that takes away the ground ball double play.
Here's the pitch toward the outside part of the plate. It's called a strike. You see the throw by Posada drifts just a little bit. Edmonds, seemingly a pretty good jump. He takes a look over his shoulder. That slows him up just a piece, but he had this base stolen. And then look what happens. He slides past the bag. The Jeter doesn't apply the bag on time as Edmonds is able to retrace that step. And that forces the New York infield to come in for the second time this inning.
I wouldn't pitch to Gloss. And he smacks it to left field. Into the corner it goes. Garrett Anderson will score. Jim Edmonds will score. And Gloss is at second base with a double. The Angels with a 7-4 lead and another incredible comeback in the 7th inning.
I suppose there was a lesson to be learned when Brett Saberhagen did it in the game that they played the Angels on the recent homestand.
Well, not only that, but Jerry, I'm thinking first base is open. Wallbeck is not a speedy runner, and he's coming up next.
But instead, Buddy decides to challenge him with a fastball low and in. Boy, did you see the bat speed by Gloss on that pitch? It produces a pair, and the Angels got some insurance.
You know, I just figured Gloss is at first base. Wallbeck comes to the plate. Then your Keystone can play back a little bit, and that will set up the double play. Matt Wallbeck steps out. The New York Yankees at one time had a 2-0 lead on 2 runs scoring in the first inning. We had a fan on the field, and he's being escorted off, so we'll tell you how the runs were scored. The Yankees took a 2-0 lead in the first. The Angels made it 2-1 with a ground out by Randy Velarde in the third. Then New York took a 4-1 lead and a home run by Paul O'Neill in the third. But Anaheim came back with 2 in the sixth. And they've scored 4 times in the 7th inning. Wallbeck rounds it foul. That was a big hit by Troy Gloss.
Just like in that 7th inning last night. Key hits by Garrett Anderson last night. A home run off Pettit. A key single tonight that produced a run.
And Jerry, he has 3 RBIs tonight. Troy now has 16 for the year in 24 games. The ball is in the dirt. Pretty good numbers for a kid who's played a lot in the last calendar year. That's a 108 RBI pace over a full year. We always project all our numbers, don't we?
That's the nature of things now, isn't it?
Well, he had an RBI in his first game. That's projected to 162 RBIs over a year.
Move over Hack Wilson.
Wallbeck rifles it to right field. Base hit. Gloss had to check to make sure he made the play. And O'Neill brings it in so Troy can only make third base, but still only 1 out. And the Angels just thrashing the bullpen of New York. First Mike Stanton, and now Mike Buddy.
You had talked about the possibility of walking Gloss with runners on second and third. If that had been the case, that would have produced a couple of runs as Wallbeck hits a line dart into right field. But because Paul O'Neill got a good read on this ball and charged it, Gloss at second couldn't get a read on it himself, so he had to hold up midway between second and third and advance only after he saw that ball hit the dirt.
Now Graham Lloyd is warming up in the bullpen, so what we will likely see is Mike Buddy pitching to Gary DiSarcina, and then they could bring Graham Lloyd in to face Orlando Palmeiro. The Angels would have options then, unless they're comfortable with this 3-run lead, because they'd like to leave. But what they could do is pinch hit Todd Green and send Reggie Williams out to left field.
You're beginning to think like a manager, and that scares me. Look at that. Green gets up, told him to get a bat.
Get loose.
Get himself. Believe you can do the job. But go out there and pitch the way we know you can. And it also gives Lloyd a chance to get loose down in the bullpen. So it serves a couple of purposes.
Ground ball third. Brocious goes second, 1 to first base. They get the double play. But the Angels score 4 runs in the 7th inning to take the 7-4 lead on the New York Yankees. We'll be right back. It's time now for our Chevrolet baseball moment. We go back to June 3rd, 1932. Lou Gehrig and the Yankees facing the Philadelphia Athletics. On this day, Gehrig would slug 4 home runs, and the Yankees would beat the A's 20-13. Gehrig would finish his illustrious career with 493 home runs. That's the great Lou Gehrig, the pride of the Yankees. Tonight's baseball moment. There is his monument out near center field. One of the great Yankees. And there are all the monuments where they have the 38 Hall of Famers in baseball lore. Lou was the first to ever hit 4 home runs in one game. Chuck Klein then did it for the Phillies in '36. The last to do it was Mark Whitten, then with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1993. Well, the Angels with 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning, now with a 3-run lead on these New York Yankees. But this is a club you have to watch. The Texas Rangers kept on taking leads on the New York Yankees on Saturday night. New York kept on coming back and won that ball game. They have a great offense. They have a great pitching staff. Their bullpen has been susceptible just of late.
And that's why Joe Torre was trying to coax as many innings out of his starting pitcher, Hideki Irabu, as he possibly could. Well, a change of fate for Alan Watson. He came in this ball game trailing by 3, but the Angels put some runs on the board, and Watson is the pitcher of record.
Yeah, he may come out of this night saying, you know, I think I like this bullpen stuff a little bit. Watson has to continue his great pitching, though, as he faces Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Darryl Strawberry. 1 ball, 1 strike. Meantime, at Arlington, Texas, it's the Detroit Tigers now with a 6-run lead on the Rangers. That's in the 7th inning. That is busted to left center field, and that will drop up against the wall. Williams will go to second base, and he stops there with a leadoff double.
Check the location of this pitch. It's a curveball over the middle of the plate. Williams keeps his hands back and drives this ball out to deep left center field. Edmonds retrieves it, but Williams is on second with a leadoff double.
So the Angels will get their bullpen busy. That is Pep Harris, the right-hander, starting to warm up. Marcel Latchman will try and slow down Alan Watson as he has to face the left-handed swinging Tino Martinez and then another lefty in Darryl Strawberry.
Watson, in his brief tenure as an Angels pitcher, has been known to lose it quickly. He can be right on 1 inning, but over the course of the next couple of pitches, the next inning, suddenly he doesn't look like the same pitcher. And because of that history, Marcel Latchman comes out to the mound to keep Alan Watson's mind in check and focus on the game at hand. He's got a lead, a 3-run lead. So the key for him is to throw strikes and just try to get outs one at a time.
And the first one starts with Tino Martinez, who has a pair of doubles in this game. Chili Davis has moved to the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Darryl Strawberry. And there is a strike. First pitch strike to Tino Martinez. Tino with 22 home runs this year. Last year he hit 44. Most by the Yanks first baseman since Lou Gehrig hit 44 in 1936. That ball struck high in the air, center field. Jim Edmonds under it. Williams will tag. He will not go. The throw by Edmonds is right on the line, cut off now by Gary DiSarcina. So 1 big out in the bottom of the 7th inning, with the Angels leading the New York Yankees, the best team in baseball, with a record of 94-34. And the former Angel, Chili Davis, moves to the hill. That will bring Terry Collins out of the bullpen. We will see Pep Harris as Alan Watson does a fine job, and Harris comes out of the bullpen to try and quiet this Yankee uprising.
Pep Harris comes on. Third pitcher used by Terry Collins. Comes in relief of Alan Watson. Watson went 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, and struck out 5, so he's in line to win this ball game. Harris pitched once at home. That was against Toronto. Third of an inning, 1 hit. He gave up a pair of runs, but overall, Pep Harris has been a pretty good reliever coming out of that bullpen. The strikeouts, the walks, both acceptable, and it's his job to get Chili Davis out.
Very good job by Alan Watson. Came on in relief of Omar Olivares. They went 22-6 in June to take a 3.5 game lead in the month of July and held it through the third day. Here is Chili Davis, the former Angel. Ball one.
Harris' best pitch, a sinker, much like Olivares. He's got a good curveball and a fastball that exceeds 90. So here's a guy that if he can learn how to pitch in long relief, learn to go through the lineup more than one time, could be a candidate for a starting pitcher. Strong kid. Throws hard, and he can throw hard for long periods of time. It's just going to take some on-the-job training in long relief to learn how to pitch in the major leagues.
His adrenaline may have forced him to overthrow the first pitch, but he came right back with a nasty sinker. 1 ball, 1 strike. He wants to stay in front of Chili Davis. He gets on. Tying run will come to the plate. Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Pep with a fastball, curve, changeup. Fred Gladden caught him that changeup in the instructional league when he was with the Cleveland Indians. In there, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Chili's been gone a long time, since the first week of the season, and one thing that he's only been able to see probably on television is the fact that umpires this year in the American League are calling that inside pitch for a strike.
Williams, second base. They're going to come back inside. And it is popped up left side. Ross will just have a look. And the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The sinker is really Pep's best pitch. His curveball is third best pitch, but his fastball is sufficient enough that if he misses by a location, it still has enough giddy up, enough movement that a hitter can't quite make the adjustment. Notice the movement on a high fastball seems to hop as it gets toward home plate. The best that Chili could do was foul it off.
Harris comes back with the fastball that is driven to deep left field. Racing back is Palmeiro. It's off the wall. Williams will score. Davis has to stop at first base. It came about 3 feet from going out. And I think Chili thought it was gone. That's why he's not standing at second base.
And it's a blunder that he's not on second base because you have a bit of a brain cramp on a situation like this. Davis inside outs this pitch. Fastball up and out over the plate. Yep, he straightens up just a little bit, thinking that ball's going to have a little bit more drift to it. Slows down as he gets toward first base. Palmeiro gives chase, realizes that even though it's an expansive left field here at Yankee Stadium, he's going to run out of room, but it was a nice pickup of that carom as it came off the wall. The Yankees put a run on the board, and the Angel lead now is just 2.
Double play still in order. Curveball in there, strike 1. Harris has to keep that ball down. Posado has great power. We told you about the 2 home runs he hit on Sunday. He now has 15 on the year. This guy's a really good-looking young hitter. Strike 2. Mike Fetters has jumped up, so has Trevor Wilson. One ball, 2 strikes.
You know, even though there's a doubleheader tomorrow, with the adrenaline going from this ball game, the seesaw type of affair that it's been, Terry Collins realizes that, wait a minute, I got a chance to win this ball game. I can't be concerned about tomorrow until tomorrow. So I'm going to find out whoever is down there that I can use. I'm going to use them. I need somebody to bridge the gap in this 7th and 8th innings, keep the lead so that I can go to Percival.
That comes inside, and leaving the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Remember the old story, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow it may rain. And with Hurricane Bonnie coming this way, it may rain tomorrow. Pep was ahead. No balls, 2 strikes. This is the key pitch right here. Left field. Palmeiro racing in. He makes the catch. Great catch by Orlando Palmeiro, and Davis must retreat to first base.
Palmeiro's getting a workout in just this inning, going back to the wall on Davis's drive, and this time charging in full speed, sliding on his knee and coming up with a great catch. One more time, you see he's got it measured. He's got his glove out, drops to a knee. The pop-up slide as he turns and prepares to throw. No Davis at second. What a play by Palmeiro in left.
So now Harris will deal with the right-handed swinging Chad Curtis, and he takes strike 1. Pep doesn't have that solid snap on his curveball. Usually he has a lot better 12-6. That was a little bit of a hanger.
Yeah, it hung inside. He got away with one. Curtis looking for something a little bit harder. Takes that curveball, which is the wise thing to do.
Wow. I think that not only hit off Wallbeck, but it also hit off the umpire, and the count runs to no balls and 2 strikes.
Fastball inside. That's what Curtis is looking for.
No, miss Matt.
Matt says, "You okay?" He takes a big sigh of relief, saying, "Glad it was you and not me."
But now Harris with options. He's got to make a good pitch here. Maybe not even a strike. Comes back, curveball, and strikes him out. Pep Harris gets it done. Does give up a run on the double or the single by Chili Davis, but comes back to strike out Chad Curtis at 7-5 Anaheim. Americans trust. It's a beautiful look at Yankee Stadium. It holds 57,545. A crowd near 40,000 on hand tonight.
And they're seeing a beautiful ball game. The Yankees took the early lead, scoring a pair in the first inning, expanded that lead as the Angels got one in the third, but they picked up another pair. They led 4-1. The Angels put 2 on the board in the sixth to narrow that margin 4-3, and then the big seventh inning when they put 4 on the board. The Yankees answer with 1 in the bottom of the seventh inning, and that's where we stand. Angels lead 7-5.
And now Orlando Palmeiro starts things by sending one to left field. Chad Curtis will run down. 1 out to start the 8th inning. Angels would love to get one more back that the New York Yankees stored, because it almost seems like the Yankees get the momentum by scoring. Any team does. And then you can take it back away by coming back with your own. And against Mike Buddy, because if they get the lead, it'll be Mariano Rivera. And he is much different than this young right-hander on the mound.
Listen, it's not too often that you have the Yankees with their backs against the wall. So you want to take advantage of every opportunity that you can.
New York has lost 2 in a row, 4 of their last 6. But you go back further and then you find out how good they are. In spite of losing 4 of their last 6, they've won 14 of their last 19. Yankees have not lost 3 straight games since opening the season 0-3. And the first 2 to start the year were in Anaheim. The Angels swept them. Fastball outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Randy Velarde. Velarde has walked, grounded out, and drove it in a run in the 3rd inning on the ground out. Hit into a 5-4-3 double play and walked to start the 7th inning. The result was the Angels would score 4 runs in that 7th inning to claim the lead. Randy, did he go around? Yes, he did. So Mike Buddy gets the strikeout. Yanks have lost only 4 series all year. We told you about Anaheim to start the year, at Baltimore, at Toronto, and at Minnesota. Minnesota swept them last week. That was just a 2-game series. This is a 5-gamer. Terry Collins would love to go 2 up. 3 to play, a doubleheader tomorrow. And then that great matchup on KCAL 9 on Thursday with Chuck Finley going against David Cone.
It just shows you how impressive the Angels have been this year against this Yankee ball club. 7 times they played them, 4 times they've beaten them. The only team in the American League to do so.
Erstad smacks it foul. He's behind the count, 0-2. George Hendrick gives the fans a souvenir. See where George is playing. Erstad likes to pull the ball, and George wants to get out of the way if he does. He'll dive over the photog area.
If he played back any deeper, he'd have to get a press pass, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And Erstad sends it the other way and drops a base hit to left field. So a 2-out single by Darren Erstad, and here comes Tim Salmon.
With 2 outs, a runner on first, Erstad with pretty good speed, and he seems to have recovered from that muscle that he pulled in his leg, especially when he tagged up and challenged Paul O'Neill that set up that important run in that 4-run 7th. I bring all that up because with 2 men out, Erstad on first base and Salmon at the plate, I wonder if he's going to be off with one of these pitches early in the count.
Well, the one great thing it does is just divides a young pitcher's attention. Mike Buddy has to think about, is he going to steal? And he also has to worry about a great hitter like Salmon, who has been hot. Tim Salmon so disciplined. What he wanted to do his last at bat is just hit the ball to the right side to get Erstad from second to third. He did that by flying out to right field. And now he smacks it foul. Strike 1. His discipline has been shown in the number of walks this year. When you talk about a slugger like Salmon, yeah, he'll get his strikeouts. He's struck out over 100 times in his career, many times in a season. But this year, 77 strikeouts and also 77 walks. You don't see that too often with a power hitter.
And that accounts for that great on-base percentage. Salmon coming into this ball game, .420. That's third best in the American League. You expect to see him with those kinds of numbers with RBIs and home runs, but not on base percentage. So it's been a banner of year of sorts for the Angels right fielder, designated hitter.
Greatest numbers I ever remember seeing as far as power and strikeouts was Joe DiMaggio. In his career, he had 361 home runs and only 369 strikeouts. That's unheard of. And a good pitch by Mike Buddy strikes out Tim Salmon. The Angels go in order in the 8th, but they hold a 2-run lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning with Brocious, Knobloch, and Jeter coming up. The Angels with a 7-5 lead on the New York Yankees in the bottom of the 8th inning. A big inning for Pep Harris as he faces Scott Brocious, Chuck Knobloch, and Derek Jeter.
You know, a big inning in a lot of respects. One for Harris personally, because if you're looking down the line for postseason play, somebody who can come in there and shut down the opposition when you have a lead, you're going to have your name in that lineup somehow. But also for the Angels, because right now they need somebody to hold the fort so that they can get to Percival. They used Hasegawa last night. In fact, they've used Hasegawa quite a bit.
Well, he goes high with a fastball, comes back right over the heart of the plate with a fastball. Now he goes curve, and Pep has jumped in front of Scott Brocious. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That first batter so important. Curveball hit in the ground past Harris. Pep will cover Darren's throw. Safe!
That was a defensive swing off the bat of Scott Brocious, and you see that Erstad's trying to get himself in position to deliver the throw. Harris wasn't anywhere close to the bag to tag it. It's his job not to watch the ball, but to get himself over to first base, and once he finds he's in line, pick up the ball and then tag the bag. Instead of an out, it's a runner on first as the Yankees turn the lineup over, and Knobloch steps to the plate.
So Brocious at first base, and he has good speed. Chuck Knobloch will now come to the plate. Chuck has been on twice, singling in the 1st and 4th. He's popped up also and grounded into a 5-4-3 double play. Strike 1.
Good action on that sinker on the pitch delivered by Harris. Knobloch likes to take a look at a lot of pitches up there. One of the few times that he's seen Harris.
Good curveball. 0-2.
That's the 12-6 break that you were talking about. When Pep gets on top of that curveball and gets that right feel for it, he can drop it in there, and you get that kind of action with it.
Pep talking to him, saying, come on. He has him 0-2. Knobloch stepped off for a moment.
See, this is the way you pitch against a guy like Knobloch or Jeter. You throw strikes, you be aggressive, and you get ahead of them.
Curveball hit in the air, left field. Palmeiro has it measured. He will make the catch for the first out of the bottom of the 8th inning. We want you to stay tuned tonight after the ball game for KCAL's Prime 9 News. Jane Velez-Mitchell and Gary Kilbride are standing by to bring you up to date on all the day's news and breaking stories. Live, local, and late breaking. That's KCAL's Prime 9 News coming up after tonight's ball game. Now, this is a great lead-in because this has been a wonderful show. The best in the West, the Anaheim Angels, against what really has become the beast of the East, the New York Yankees. Trying to set all kinds of major league records. Break the Cubs record of 1906 with 116 wins. They're on pace now for 119 after losing 2 in a row. Jeter takes a strike. The Detroit Tigers, we told you, were leading the Texas Rangers 8-2 that ball game in the 7th inning. Here it's 7-5, Angels in the 8th. Jeter has been fantastic tonight, both in the field and at the plate. He grounded out his first time up, but 3 singles thereafter on just terrific at-bats. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. There were a couple of times where Derek would get behind 1 and 2, and then he would just foul off pitches, work the count 3 and 2, and then the pitcher would make a mistake, and he'd get a base hit. Gloss at third has come through twice offensively. Even with the bag now defensively. Pounds it in front of the plate. Oh, Paris comes up, throws, and he's safe. Bad communication. Walbeck and Harris couldn't agree on who should take it, and this inning should be over, but the Angels defensively are letting it continue.
When in doubt, you've got to be aggressive as far as being a fielder coming off that mound. Harris charges in. Walbeck and Harris, lack of communication on this play. Harris gives up, thinking Walbeck's going to take it. But Jeter, hustling all the way, is able to beat the throw once that Harris is able to get this ball and fire it to first base. Bang, bang play. Jeter beats it. 2 infield hits, and the Yankees have something going.
But in his defense, Pep Harris's defense, when Matt Walbeck made the play, he came up with his left hand saying, I've got it. It was really Harris's baseball. The Angels still lead by 2.
Number 17.
John needs gas in a hurry. Why? He's late for the Arco picnic, and he has 28 pounds of potato salad sweating in the back seat.
Bottom of the 8th inning, 2 on with just 1 out, and this inning probably should be over, but the Angels did not defend well.
Part of the reason is the confusion on this last play, tapped in front of home plate by Derek Jeter. It's off to the races. You see the left arm go up by Walbeck. Pep Harris then decides to take the ball, as there was a bit of indecision. One more time, a look at Walbeck. The ball tapped in front of the ground. Jeter will leave your picture. Watch his arm go up, his left arm, as to say, I got it. I don't know if there was any verbal communication because we can't hear it from up here. But disappointment on the part of Pep Harris, realizing that he should be out of this inning.
I think Chuck Finley may have said to him, you threw the pitches. You threw the right pitches. But now trouble comes to the plate as Trevor Wilson digs in on the mound. Wilson has to face one of the most challenging left-handers in the game in Paul O'Neill.
Good numbers so far for Trevor Wilson since coming up against left-handed batters. They're 3 for 10 off of them, but Wilson has struck out 3 of those 10 batters he's faced himself.
Ball 1. Anaheim with a 7-5 lead. They came back from a 4-1 deficit. But this is a New York ball club that has come from behind more than 40 times this year to win their 94 games to this point. Detroit now leading Texas 8-4 in the 8th inning. Almost hit him. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, they had to face the big guns sometime, and it just so happens that they're facing him in this 8th inning. Angels defense looking for the double play. You see the base runners. Brocious second. Jeter first. O'Neill with a line drive, base hit left field. Palmeiro up with it. They will send him home. Here's the throw cut off. It is a 7-6 ball game.
O'Neill gets ahead in the count, then gets a fastball outside part of the plate. He goes with it. It's a line drive, a 1-hop to Palmeiro. But a run's going to come around and score. One more look, fastball outside. And this is why O'Neill is such a valuable ball player to this Yankee lineup. He can hit the ball anywhere, hit it anywhere with power, as evidenced by the 2-run homer he hit earlier in this ballgame. Wilson's out. Collins is out to the mound. He calls in his ace, Troy Percival.
So Percival with a rare 8th inning appearance. 7-6 Angels. Well, in his last game against the Texas Rangers, wound up with a no decision. That was the Saturday night 12-9 Yankee victory. The Angels with a 7-6 lead. The Yankees with 17 hits tonight. 2 in this inning. One that rolled about 12 feet. The other that didn't get out of the infield. But one of those runs is scored to make it a 7-6 ball game. And Troy Percival comes on with 2 Yankees on the base paths, first and second base.
Percival comes on for the 55th time this season. Last time he pitched was against Toronto. He picked up that last save, his 35th, an inning and a third, with a walk and a couple of strikeouts. So he's got his work cut out for him. He's going against the league's best hitter. That's Bernie Williams with a tying run in this ballgame at second base.
And that is in the speed of Derek Jeter. Williams has singled twice and doubled. Strike one. Percival has had brilliant success against these New York Yankees. 15 2/3 scoreless innings in his career. And that includes 24 strikeouts. One ball, one strike. Percival with that overpowering fastball that can reach as high as 97, 98 miles an hour. A very good curve, and he has been able to get that over of late. But that is his second best pitch. Strike two.
Key pitch in the sequence. Again, Percival goes with that good fastball. Williams is only looking dead red. Percival could slip in a curveball right here. He'd probably get everybody on that Yankees bench shaking their head. Squints in, gets the sign he wants. Tying run at second base. You can see how important this ball game is to the Angels. They won last night. A win tonight. When you got 5 games against the best team in baseball, well, it is important.
And he strikes him out with a brilliant 96-mile-an-hour fastball that was sweeping away from Bernie Williams.
What sets this pitch up on the outside corner is that Williams went after a fastball out of the strike zone on the preceding pitch. Now he takes a rather defensive swing on a fastball on the outside corner. Just can't catch up with it, and he becomes Percival's strikeout victim.
So with Williams now sitting in the dugout, the challenge continues to be a great one for Troy Percival, because Tino Martinez is a great fastball hitter. He has doubled twice in this game, both off a right-hander, Omar Olivares. And he takes ball one.
I'll tell you what, if this is a playoff preview of what we're going to see at the postseason, this is going to be some kind of exciting baseball.
Popped up left side. Does Troy Gloss have room? He's racing over. He'll have no play. It will just be 1 ball and 1 strike to Tino Martinez with 2 outs and the tying run in scoring position at second base, and the speedy Derek Jeter, and the go-ahead man at first base in Paul O'Neill.
Really, the Angels would have to be underdogs in a series like that, considering the fact that it's been a patchwork kind of lineup. They've had guys come back off the disabled list and produce, and they've been able to hold things together so far. And they've also been the only team to be able to handle the New York Yankees this season.
Low fastball, 2 balls and 1 strike. Terry Collins got an emotional win last night, 7-3, coming from a 2-0 deficit. Tonight, they have come back from a 4-1 deficit to take a 7-4 lead. Now it's 7-6. Fastball fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Is Tino Martinez more a low ball hitter or a high ball hitter?
You know, I think it depends on the situation. He's more of a situational kind of hitter.
The 2-2 pitch. Just off the corner, 3-2.
If the situation calls for an off-speed pitch, he'll keep those hands back, hit the off-speed pitch, regardless of where it's thrown, because he's quick enough to be able to make the adjustment and take the ball to the opposite field. He's shown that already tonight with a pair of doubles to left center.
Runners go, pitch swung on, fouled back. With the count 3-2, 2 outs, Jeter is headed to third. O'Neill to second.
Percival hasn't given him a pitch inside. But in this situation, you've got Martinez looking toward the outside part of the plate, trying to drive that ball into left center field.
Jeter and O'Neill. Angels by 1. Ground ball, second base, comes up for Randy Velarde. His throw to first base right there, and the Angels will take a 7-6 lead to the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium.
How important this is to both ball clubs. The Yankees, of course, in a little bit of a downspin after losing a pair of games in Minnesota, losing last night. So they're bringing Rivera on, even though they trail in this ball game. That 1 run they picked up looms mighty big in this ball game. When Percival delivers a pitch up the home plate, it's all out. You've got arms, legs, body all twisting and turning. But with Rivera, it's a bit more controlled.
Second base, Knobloch throws out Garrett Anderson. 1 out to start the 9th inning. To not only pitch a brilliant 1996 season, but become the MVP in the World Series. And Rivera was his setup guy. Now it's Jim Edmonds. 2 for 3 and some very clutch hits in this ball game, and Jim swings and misses strike 1.
Rivera goes with a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Edmonds doesn't have a chance on that pitch. Great location, good velocity.
And he busted to left field for a base hit, so Edmonds has 3 hits on the night. 2 singles to right field, and now a base hit to left.
But Jimmy
Gloss pops it up. Center field, Bernie Williams makes the catch for the second out. 100 team. They go to the Chicago White Sox below 500 and then have to go to Tiger Stadium to play Detroit 3 more. Wallback skies it in the air towards right field. Paul O'Neill drifts under it. Bernie Williams calls him off, makes the catch. The inning is over, and here comes the bull. Troy Percival will try and finish off New York in the ninth. And Sunday in Boston. Just misses low, ball 4, so Davis is on. He represents the tying run. Fine at bat by Chili Davis, and now Jorge Posada comes to the plate. Fastball in there, 1 ball, 2 strikes. That likely takes the bunt away, even if they were thinking about it. 2 strikes, and with the speed of his fastball, well, it makes it even more difficult to get it down. Bush, first base. Percival just stepped off. He did have an aggressive lead. He does not go. The pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 3.
Key pitch in the sequence was that 1-1 pitch on the outside corner that Posada just watched go by. Fastball again, this time just a little bit higher on that outside corner. Posada can't afford to take a chance of getting called out. Swings right. Played some time with the White Sox and then joined the Yankees for the World Series year.
Bush goes, the pitch taken, the throw to second base is not held onto by Randy Velarde. The 3-2 pitch. Walked him. 12 hits his last 20 at bats. And Scott with 16 home runs this year and 2 on the base paths. The Angels are hoping he can hit it on the ground to a guy like DiSarcina. And he pops it up. First pitch pop up left field. Palmeiro says he has it. And he does. 2 big outs. And we are down to Chuck Knobloch. Davis walked. Bush pinch ran for him. Stole second base. Raines walked. 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th inning. Anaheim by 1. The 3-1 pitch. Walked him. Bases are loaded. And here comes Derek Jeter, who has 4 hits tonight. Jeter digs in with the bases full of Yankees. Strike 1.
Well, the words of Latch came through on that first pitch. Wipe away those walks. You got the guy at the plate. Let's focus on him. Get that first pitch over and bring the advantage back to you.
Strike 2.
Look at Percival and watch that adrenaline build, can't you?
Bush, Raines. Knobloch's at first base. Jeter behind him, the count, 0-2. Maybe Latch said, relax, don't overthrow. You've got good enough stuff at 95. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball. Percival has it. His throw to first, and the Angels take the first 2 games of this 5-game series. Wow. Percival saves his 36th this year. The Angels hold on to win 7-6 in just a great game, Jerry.
How does it get any better than this? He walks the bases loaded and then comes in with 2 quick strikes.